Chapter 23:13. Ling Xiao could feel that although Zhao Ritian looked calm on the surface, his emotions were like turbulent waves that contained anger, sorrow, and other complicated emotions. It was obvious that Zhao Ritian and Tianzi had a grudge that no one knew about. Although Ling Xiao was curious, he did not say much. He nodded and said, "All right. His life is in your hands." "Thank you." Zhao Ritian nodded at Ling Xiao. "What a joke. Do you think you can kill me?" Tianzi's eyes turned cold as he said with an ugly expression. "Di Yuan, we haven't met for hundreds of millions of years. You have the title of Tianzi, occupied my physical body, and possessed my fate. However, you should know that you'll have to pay back what you owe me," Zhao Ritian said calmly, his voice cold. "Your physical body? Your fate? What a joke. Di Hao, I'm the real son of the Heavenly Emperor. If I devour your forbidden soul, do you think you can compete with me for the Heaven's Chosen One?" Tianzi said angrily, his eyes filled with unwillingness. He did not expect Zhao Ritian to be able to break the seal of the 10,000 Emperor soul-locking curse. He also did not expect Ling Xiao's combat strength to be so terrifying. However, he still had a chance. Now that Ling Xiao had stopped attacking, if he could kill Zhao Ritian quickly and devour Zhao Ritian's forbidden soul, he would be able to fight his way out of this hopeless situation. He might even be able to turn the tables around. As he provoked Zhao Ritian with his words, he was secretly looking for Zhao Ritian's weakness. He wanted to win with a single strike. "Di Yuan, you were originally the adopted son of my father, the Heavenly Emperor. My father treated you like his own son. However, you were greedy and insatiable. When my father died in the demonic realm, you took my Heavenly Emperor's bloodline and stole my physical body and fate. You even tried to devour my primordial spirit. If it wasn't for my indestructible soul that was blessed by my father, I would have died in your hands. Today is our fated battle. My blood, my flesh, my bones, my life. Today I'll take them back." Zhao Ritian stared at Tianzi and said slowly, "What? Zhao Ritian is the real Tianzi?" After hearing the conversation between Zhao Ritian and Tianzi, Ling Xiao, the Shaman King, and the Undying Prince were all stunned. To them this news was simply explosive and unimaginable. Who would have thought that the Son of Heaven, who claimed to be the son of the Celestial Emperor, and possessed the inheritance of the Celestial Emperor, was actually just a fake? And Zhao Ritian was the true son of the Celestial Emperor? No wonder Tianzi wanted to kill Zhao Ritian. "I didn't expect Zhao Ritian to have such a shocking identity. It's just that since he's the son of the Heavenly Emperor, how did he end up in the War God realm?" Ling Xiao was both shocked and puzzled. Many of his doubts had been resolved. Furthermore, after hearing Zhao Ritian's words, he did not expect the Emperor's real name, Di Yuan, to be such a vicious person. "Di Hao, you're right. Today is the fated battle between us, but the result is either you die or I die." Tianzi's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he instantly made his move. When Zhao Ritian was speaking just now, he had already seen Zhao Ritian's weakness. He believed that as long as he could hit that weakness, Zhao Ritian would definitely die. Rumble. Tianzi's body exploded with a vast amount of chaotic light. The Celestial Emperor's real body was completely activated by him once again. The Celestial Emperor's bloodline around him seemed to be burning, emitting a golden flame that seemed to be able to burn everything. The Celestial Emperor's fist, the human sovereign's sword, and the Celestial Emperor's seal appeared in front of Tianzi in an instant. They turned into a blazing light beam that could pierce through everything. It was like a light beam that could split the heavens and earth apart. Suddenly, it shot towards Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness between his eyebrows. Zhao Ritian's real body was occupied by Tianzi. Now only Zhao Ritian's soul was Di Hao. As for his physical body, it was formed by Zhao Ritian's cultivation. Therefore, Zhao Ritian's primordial spirit was his biggest weakness. As long as he could injure Zhao Ritian's primordial spirit, he could directly devour Zhao Ritian's forbidden soul. Zhao Ritian's expression was very calm, and there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Rumble. Just as the dazzling light beam was about to hit Zhao Ritian's glabella, a vast light suddenly gushed out. The flipping sky seal exuded a powerful and ancient aura. It directly blocked Zhao Ritian's path and collided with the light beam. In the end, the light beam was completely annihilated. What? This is... Tianzi's body trembled. Looking at the cyclic sky seal in front of Zhao Ritian, he seemed to have recognized something and could not help but tremble. Emperor's origin. We haven't seen each other for hundreds of millions of years. For the sake of the Celestial Emperor's inheritance and the Chosen One convention, you have not made a breakthrough. This will be your biggest weakness. Zhao Ritian said indifferently. In an instant he grabbed the cyclic sky seal. His body emitted a vast and terrifying aura. The cyclic sky seal was like a mountain that pressed down on Tianzi. The cyclic sky seal emitted a destructive energy wave that caused the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Tianzi felt his scalp go numb. He could vaguely see an extremely familiar figure in the cyclic sky seal. This is the ultimate emperor weapon, the Celestial Emperor's seal. Impossible. This is impossible. The Celestial Emperor's seal has been shattered into pieces and has completely disappeared. Tianzi's body trembled. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he started to roar. Facing the cyclic sky seal, he felt a great sense of danger. In an instant, the Celestial Emperor's bloodline in his body erupted. He wanted to forcefully activate the Heavenly Tao Emperor sword to resist the cyclic sky seal. He had long forgotten the rule of not using extreme Tao Emperor weapons in the final battle. Now he only wanted to live. Celestial Emperor, strip! Zhao Ritian shouted coldly. Rumble. The Celestial Emperor's real body behind Tianzi started to tremble violently. The divine order chains on the Celestial Emperor's real body shattered and Tianzi's aura started to weaken at a speed visible to the naked eye. Extreme Tao strip. Zhao Ritian roared again. The extreme Tao Emperor weapon that was trembling in Tianzi's body suddenly shot up into the sky. It flew above the Celestial Emperor's real body without Tianzi's control, and shone brightly. Bloodline strip. With Zhao Ritian's third roar, the bloodline in Tianzi's body surged violently and started to boil violently. In an instant, it gushed out from the pores of Zhao Ritian's body. It was as vast as the sea and it gave off a dazzling golden glow. Flesh strip. Zhao Ritian's fourth roar caused Tianzi, who was covered in blood, to tremble violently. In the next moment, his physical body exploded into a cloud of blood mist and left him. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Tianzi roared furiously. His eyes were filled with disbelief and despair. He couldn't understand how Zhao Ritian managed to strip his bloodline, and even strip him of the Heavenly Tao Emperor sword that he had refined for countless years. Fate strip. Zhao Ritian's final roar shook the heavens. It was as if thunder was roaring and contained an unparalleled heavenly might. In the void, Tianzi's remaining primordial spirit let out a crisp sound. Dense cracks appeared on it, and it looked as if it was going to turn into ashes at any time. Chapter 23:14. Spare me, I don't want to die. Tianzi's primordial spirit trembled violently, and cracks appeared like a spider web. It looked like it was going to collapse at any moment. His eyes were filled with fear as he begged Zhao Ritian. The Heavenly Emperor true body, Heavenly Tao Emperor sword, Heavenly Emperor bloodline, flesh, bones, and fate were all taken away. All that was left was a trace of primordial spirit. Tianzi was no match for Zhao Ritian. He could feel the shadow of death looming over him, and his soul almost left his body. He did not want to die, or rather he was not willing to die. Over the years he had gotten used to Tianzi's identity and status. As long as he took another step forward, he would be able to get everything he wanted. He had never thought that he would die in the hands of Dihao. Back then he had taken everything from Dihao. However, Dihao's undying soul had entered the cycle of reincarnation. Now that he had returned as Zhao Ritian, the two of them started a fated battle. Unfortunately, Tianzi was still defeated. You don't want to die? Back then, when you took my bloodline, my physical body, and swallowed my primordial spirit, did you not expect this day to come? Diyuan, you can go to hell now. Zhao Ritian's eyes were extremely cold. They contained deep hatred and sorrow. The flipping sky seal rumbled and suppressed Tianzi's primordial spirit. It was going to crush Tianzi's primordial spirit into dust. No. Let me go. Someone ordered me to do all this. As long as you let me go, I'll tell you who it is. Tianzi shouted in fear. What? Zhao Ritian's eyes flashed. The flipping sky seal landed on top of Tianzi's primordial spirit and stopped. He had always had doubts. When the Sky Emperor fell, Di Yuan was only a sage to be. How could he have planned all this and even broken the defense of the Sky Emperor's real body? Moreover, after Zhao Ritian was sealed by the 10,000 Emperor's Spirit Lock Heaven Fate Curse, he would not be able to break the seal even if he went through 10,000 reincarnations. Where did Di Yuan get such a supreme treasure from? There was indeed a mastermind behind Di Yuan. Di Hao, now that you have taken everything from me, I have been punished. As long as you let me go, I'll tell you who it is. Tianzi said anxiously. Speak. Who is it? Zhao Ritian stared at Tianzi and asked. To be able to plan all of this in the dark and even bestow a supreme treasure like the 10,000 Emperor's spirit-locking heaven fate curse to Di Yuan. This person was definitely not an ordinary person. Perhaps this person was a supreme expert on the same level as the heavenly monarch. Supreme Great Emperor. You must swear to spare my life. Otherwise, even if I die, you won't know who I am. Tianzi made up his mind and insisted. Zhao Ritian, why waste your breath on him? Why don't I just swallow his soul and search his soul? At that time, I'll naturally know who the mastermind is. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Naturally, he did not want Zhao Ritian to let Tianzi go just like that. It was better for such a powerful and ruthless enemy to die. If you dare to let him do it, I'll self-detonate my primordial spirit. When that happens, you won't know anything. Tianzi's eyes revealed a hint of madness. Self-destructing his primordial spirit? The little D origin is in the hands of your second uncle. Do you think your life is still in your own hands? At this moment, an old and mocking voice rang out in the void. Translator. Transin editor. Transin the flipping sky seal shone brightly. Runes rose and an old man in a Taoist robe appeared. A mighty force pressed down. Suddenly, Tianzi's primordial spirit seemed to be suppressed in the void and could no longer move. You're your second uncle? Tianzi's body trembled, and his eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. He could not help but exclaim out loud. My former nephew, I didn't expect you to know second uncle. I thought that a deranged beast like you who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors would not remember anything. The old figure floated in the void. He was skinny and had a goatee. His pair of mungbean eyes were filled with a sneer and mockery. Although he looked a little wretched and cunning, the aura that he emitted at this moment made everyone's heart palpitate. How can you still be alive? You're just the weapon spirit of the Heavenly Emperor's seal. Back then, the Heavenly Emperor's seal was shattered and completely destroyed in the demonic world. The weapon spirit should have been destroyed long ago. Why aren't you dead? Tianzi's body trembled as he spoke. The Heavenly Emperor had oppressed the heavens. He had two extreme Tao Emperor weapons in his hands. They were the Heavenly Emperor's seal and the Heavenly Emperor sword. Although the Heavenly Emperor sword was the Heavenly Emperor's personal sword, it was not the Heavenly Emperor's natal treasure. The Heavenly Emperor's seal was the Supreme Emperor weapon that the Heavenly Emperor had painstakingly refined when he was weak. Second uncle's identity was originally the weapon spirit of the Heavenly Emperor's seal. He had a deep relationship with the Heavenly Emperor. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the Heavenly Emperor's biological brother. The Heavenly Emperor was out fighting all year round. On the contrary, it was second uncle who often taught Di Hao and Di Yuan. Because of his carefree nature, Di Hao and Di Yuan addressed him as second uncle. However, no one remembered his real name. During the war in the demonic world, the Heavenly Emperor fought against 9 great Emperor realm experts alone. Although he had the Heavenly Emperor's seal and the Heavenly Emperor sword, the Heavenly Emperor died in the battle. The Heavenly Emperor's seal was destroyed and the Heavenly Emperor's sword flew back to the Heavenly Palace and was obtained by Di Yuan. Tianzi did not expect second uncle to still be alive. Of course I'm still alive. If I'm not alive, how can I find Hao in the samsara? How can I seek revenge from you and take back everything that belongs to him? Di Yuan, you're ambitious and sinful. Do you still want to live today? Even if Hao agrees, I won't agree. Second uncle's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. It was obvious that he hated Tianzi to the core. Rumble. Second uncle exuded a vast and terrifying aura. The chaotic light in the surroundings surged and gathered toward him in an instant. It turned into a terrifying gale and surged toward Tianzi's primordial spirit. Every gust of wind was like the edge of a blade, containing a power fluctuation that could destroy everything. Tianzi's primordial spirit was swept by the gale. It was as if he was being cut into pieces. His body trembled violently, and he let out a miserable cry. Ah, it hurts. Spare me, spare me. Dihao, you'll die a horrible death. Even if I die, I won't tell you. Ah, second uncle, I can't take it anymore. Give me a quick death. I'll tell you who it is. Tianzi's primordial spirit suffered unimaginable torture. However, the gale that swept over his primordial spirit was not fatal. It only destroyed his primordial spirit bit by bit, and made him suffer unimaginable pain. Even the Shaman King and the Undying Prince, who were hiding in the distance, felt their eyelids twitch. Their eyes were filled with sorrow. Chapter 23:15. Tianzi's cries reverberated throughout the final battlefield. However, Ling Xiao, second uncle, and Zhao Ritian all looked on coldly. No one pitied him. He was trying to atone for the sins he had committed. Even if he had to die 100 times, he would not be able to atone for it. In the end, Tianzi was tortured to the point of insanity. Even his voice had become much weaker. His eyes were filled with fear, unwillingness, and regret. It's the Emperor Tongtian. He ordered me to do it. Give me a quick death. Tianzi's eyes were filled with pleading as he finally said the name of the mastermind behind this. Right now, he only wished for a quick death. What? Second uncle and Zhao Ritian trembled. They did not expect such a familiar name to come out of Tianzi's mouth. Boom. Divine light surged around Zhao Ritian as he grabbed Tianzi's primordial spirit. A majestic devouring force erupted from his glabella as he began to devour Tianzi's primordial spirit and memories. Tianzi was about to go crazy from the torture. He did not resist at all. He allowed Zhao Ritian to devour his primordial spirit and see all the memories in it. Tianzi had died in such a tragic manner. When Zhao Ritian saw the memories in Tianzi's primordial spirit, his body trembled violently. The hatred in his eyes almost drove him crazy. He could not help but roar at the sky. Ah! The Emperor Tongtian, you and I are irreconcilable. Zhao Ritian's voice was filled with sorrow and endless hatred. It was very moving. How or why is it the Emperor Tongtian? How could it be the Emperor Tongtian? He is your grandmaster. Second uncle said in disbelief. His voice was trembling. That's right. The Emperor Tongtian that Di Yuan mentioned was Zhao Ritian's grandmaster, the master of the Sky Emperor. The Emperor Tongtian was one of the oldest emperors of the human race. Before the Sky Emperor attained his Tao, although the human race was oppressed by the demon race and was extremely miserable, the Emperor Tongtian still protected many of the human race. He had a very high prestige among the human race, and was known as the most sacred master of the human race. Back then, it was this Emperor Tongtian who discovered the Celestial Emperor's peerless talent and took him under his wing. That was how the Celestial Emperor rose to power and led the human race to conquer the world. The Heavenly Emperor was not the only one who was extremely respectful to the Heavenly Emperor. Second uncle, Zhao Ritian, and the others were naturally extremely respectful to the Heavenly Emperor as well. Second uncle had once guessed that the mastermind behind this was the great emperor of the demon race, but he had never thought that the mastermind would be Emperor Tongtian. Grandmaster? Ha! He is indeed my good grandmaster. If it weren't for him, Imperial Father wouldn't have died in battle. Not only was he the mastermind behind the Emperor's origin, but he was also the one who revealed the secret to the Devil Realm. That was why Father was trapped in the Devil Realm and died in battle, Zhao Ritian said sorrowfully. He slowly recounted everything that he had seen in the memories of Tianzi's soul. Emperor Tongtian was the master of the Celestial Emperor. After the Celestial Emperor attained his Tao, Emperor Tongtian gradually went into seclusion. He did not care about worldly affairs and focused on cultivation. However, one day, Emperor Tongtian found Di Yuan, and made use of Di Yuan's ambition to find an opportunity to kill Di Hao and steal Di Hao's bloodline, and the Celestial Emperor's inheritance to become the master of the Heavenly Palace. Even when the Celestial Emperor attacked the Devil Realm, it was Emperor Tongtian who leaked the information to the Devil Realm's Devil Emperor. That was why they had the opportunity to unite the 9 great emperors and set up a trap to attack the Celestial Emperor. After Di Yuan stole Di Hao's bloodline inheritance, he obtained the Celestial Emperor's scripture from the inheritance and gave it to Emperor Tongtian. Emperor Tongtian instructed Di Yuan to track down the whereabouts of Di Hao's forbidden soul. He told Di Yuan that only by devouring the forbidden soul could he be completely perfected. If he could become the chosen one, he could use it to reach the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. That was why Tianzi had sealed himself in seclusion. Every once in a while, he would come out to track down the whereabouts of the forbidden soul and secretly set up a trap. Until this time, when he was summoned by Emperor Tongtian to participate in the Chosen One meeting. From the beginning to the end, although Di Yuan was despicable and crazy, he was only a puppet used by Emperor Tongtian. Emperor Tongtian is your grandmaster. He loved you the most when you were young. Why would he do such a crazy thing? What good would it do him? Second uncle said in disbelief. You'll have to ask him. Zhao Ritian said coldly. Ling Zhao's heart was also filled with emotions. He did not expect Zhao Ritian to have such a hidden and complicated background. Who would have thought that the Celestial Emperor's son was just a fake? Ling Xiao, if you spare my life, I'm willing to serve you as my master and never betray you. The Shaman King's eyes flashed as he suddenly said to Ling Xiao. Although he looked burly and muscular on the surface, he was very quick-witted. He no longer had the strength to fight. Moreover, he had seen the death of the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince and Tianzi with his own eyes. He knew that the best way to keep a secret was to let someone die. Since Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian dared to say so many things in front of him, and the Undying Prince, it meant that they were already dead. Although the Shaman King was proud and arrogant, he chose to compromise in the face of the threat of death. Shaman King you, the Undying Prince's eyes turned cold as he said angrily. Undying Prince, Lord Ling Xiao is a godly martial artist. Even the fake emperor was defeated by him. He's destined to be the chosen one, and the master of the next era. I'm following him because I'm following the destiny. What do you know? The Shaman King interrupted the Undying Prince's words and sneered rudely. He knew about the grudge between the Undying Prince and Ling Xiao, so he did not hesitate to draw the line between him and the Undying Prince. You want to follow me? How do I know you won't betray me? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said with a faint smile. The Shaman King said without hesitation. Master Ling Xiao, I know you have your concerns. I can give you a strand of my life soul. You can control my life and death with just a thought. Can you rest assured? That's not enough. Ling Xiao said nonchalantly. However, in his heart, he was somewhat impressed. Regardless of whether the Shaman King had ulterior motives or not, the fact that he was able to endure such humiliation showed that he was not an ordinary person. He was a character. Master Ling Xiao, what else do you want? As long as you say it, I can do it. I only ask that Master Ling Xiao give me a chance to follow you. The Shaman King said respectfully. You can do anything you want? Then give me your proof of allegiance and kill him. Ling Xiao said calmly as he pointed at the Undying Prince. The Undying Prince's face suddenly changed. Kill the Undying Prince? Okay. As long as Master Ling Xiao agrees to let me follow you, I'll kill him. Chapter 23:16. Ling Xiao, you'll die a horrible death. The Undying Prince's face changed drastically. His eyes were blazing with anger, as if he was about to devour someone. He knew that Ling Xiao would not let him go given the hatred between him and Ling Xiao. However, he did not expect the Sorcerer King to be so shameless as to betray him without hesitation. Swoosh. The Undying Prince did not even hesitate as he turned into a ray of light and tried to escape. Boom. Ling Xiao's expression was indifferent as a huge palm print came from the sky. It contained a power that could destroy everything as it came crashing down on the Undying Prince. The Undying Prince was already heavily injured and had lost a large amount of his life essence. At this moment, there was no way for him to block Ling Xiao's attack. He was directly smashed into a bloody mist in the void. The undying prince let out a miserable cry as his flesh and blood wriggled in the void, as if he was about to reform his body. Kill him. I'll spare your life. Ling Xiao looked at the Sorcerer King and said indifferently, yes. The Sorcerer King's heart skipped a beat as he gritted his teeth and charged towards the undying prince. He had been severely injured by the Sorcerer Ancestor's fist, but after a short period of rest, he had recovered some of his vitality. Now that the undying prince was severely injured by Ling Xiao again, it was naturally not difficult for him. He knew that Ling Xiao only wanted to prove his allegiance. Boom. The Sorcerer King exuded an ancient aura as he punched out. The undying prince's flesh and blood exploded again. The undying prince had the bloodline of the undying demon emperor, and his body had the immortal substance. It could be said that he could be reborn from a drop of blood. As long as there was a drop of blood, he could be reborn continuously. However, this kind of rebirth consumed the immortal substance in his body, and was not unlimited. The Sorcerer King was completely ruthless as he attacked ruthlessly. The undying prince's flesh and blood kept exploding and regenerating. However, in the end it became slower and slower. One could even see a transparent primordial spirit, whose eyes were filled with fear. Ling Xiao, spare my life. I'm willing to submit to you. If you kill me, my father will not let you go. He is the lord of the demon world, the undying demon emperor who suppressed billions of creatures. You are no match for him. The undying prince roared fiercely. So what if it's the undying devil emperor? He has been severely injured by the 9 human thearchs. Right now, no one knows which rat hole he is hiding in to recuperate. Don't even think that he can save you. Go to hell. The Shaman Spirit King sneered and punched the undying prince. The undying prince exploded again. Crack! Under the repeated attacks of the Shaman King, the undying prince was unable to withstand the destructive power. Even his soul began to crack, and in the end he exploded. Rumble! The Origin Immortal painting flew out of Prince Undying's body, and shone with dazzling light that surrounded him. The primal chaos void around him trembled as if it were about to shatter. Most of Undying Prince's flesh and blood had been destroyed, but there was still a part of his flesh and broken primordial spirit that was protected by the Daluo scroll. He wanted to break through the chaotic void and escape. The Daluo scroll was the Undying Prince's last resort. As long as he could leave the final battlefield, he would be able to escape. Trying to escape? Stay here. Ling Xiao's voice rang out. In the next moment, a dazzling beam of light shot out from between Ling Xiao's eyebrows. It emitted 9-colored divine light, and instantly covered the sky. An ancient heavenly book appeared in the sky and pressed down on the Daluo scroll. It's the wordless heavenly book. The Shaman Spirit King trembled, and his eyes were filled with awe. This was the first time Ling Xiao had used the wordless heavenly book. Even the Daluo scroll seemed to be suppressed by the light of the wordless heavenly book. After all, the final battlefield had suppressed the power of an extreme Dao Emperor weapon. Crack! Runes shattered one after another. Even the Daluo scroll could not protect the Undying Prince's flesh and primordial spirit. The dazzling boundary suddenly shattered. No! The Undying Prince's eyes were filled with despair. The last bit of his flesh and primordial spirit was instantly devoured by the wordless heavenly book. The Undying Prince's soul was destroyed. Congratulations, Lord Ling Xiao, for killing the Undying Prince and shocking the heavens. The Shaman Spirit King's face was filled with respect as he knelt down to Ling Xiao. Bang! The Shaman Spirit King gritted his teeth and slapped between his eyebrows. A strand of his natal primordial spirit floated out. It looked exactly like the Shaman Spirit King, and instantly flew toward Ling Xiao. He had shown his allegiance with his actions. As long as Ling Xiao refined this strand of his natal primordial spirit, his life would be under Ling Xiao's control. His life and death would be in Ling Xiao's hands. You're smart. Ling Xiao glanced at the Shaman Spirit King indifferently. At that moment, he really had the thought of using the wordless heavenly book to kill the Shaman Spirit King as well. However, the Shaman Spirit King was so obedient that he had no reason to do so. Lord Ling Xiao, you're a genius. This time, you've won the title of the Chosen One. In the future, you'll definitely become an emperor, and become the master of the next era. I'm willing to follow Lord Ling Xiao, the Shaman Spirit King said respectfully. Very good. Your life is saved. Ling Xiao nodded and reached out to refine the strand of natal primordial spirit of the Shaman Spirit King. Suddenly, there was a mysterious connection between the two. Ling Xiao could feel that as long as he willed it, the Shaman Spirit King's soul would immediately disperse. The fate of the sorcerer tribe above the Shaman Spirit Kings had also surged toward Ling Xiao like a torrent. Rumble. Purple gas rose around Ling Xiao. Strands of purple gas were like divine chains of order. They shrouded his entire body and made him look even more mysterious. Above Ling Xiao's head, there seemed to be a purple galaxy with large stars floating in it. It represented the fate of all the tribes in the heavens. At that moment, all of it had gathered on him. Boom. Suddenly, Ling Xiao felt an incomparably majestic purple fate surging toward him. It was as vast as the sea, causing another bright star to appear in the purple galaxy above Ling Xiao's head. It emitted a brilliant light like the sun. The purple galaxy of destiny seemed to have been perfected, and it was filled with endless nobility. Zhao Ritianyu. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a hint of surprise as he looked at Zhao Ritian. It was Zhao Ritian who had given up his human tribe's fate and given it to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, this is what you deserve. Thank you. Now that I've taken my revenge, my heart is at peace. You're the true chosen one, and the true hope of the human tribe. Chapter 23:17. Should I call you Zhao Ritian or Dihao? Ling Xiao looked at Zhao Ritian and asked. At this moment, Ling Xiao could not see through Zhao Ritian. He stood there with a slender figure and a handsome face. He exuded a dignified and mysterious aura from head to toe. His eyes were as bright and deep as the starry sky. Zhao Ritian had comprehended his past and present life. He had retrieved his bloodline of the Heavenly Emperor, and became the true son of the Heavenly Emperor. The powerful aura he exuded made him seem even more invincible. For a moment, Ling Xiao was confused. Who was this Zhao Ritian? You should call me Zhao Ritian. Before the reincarnation, I was Dihao. In this life, I'm Zhao Ritian. I believe that even if my father was still alive, he wouldn't care about this. Being the Heavenly Emperor, or Dihao, is too tiring. I prefer to be free. That's why you should be the chosen one. The hope of the human race is on you. Zhao Ritian said with a smile. His eyes were unprecedentedly relaxed and open-minded. Zhao Ritian, are you giving me all the heavy responsibilities? That's too unjust. Ling Xiao said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Ling Xiao, Ritian is right. Without you, as the son of the Heavenly Emperor, he would naturally have to bear the responsibility. However, with you you're more suitable than him. Second uncle nodded and said with certainty, is it because I'm the successor of the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao asked. Yes and no. Second uncle said with deep meaning. Rumble. Just as Ling Xiao was about to ask more, the entire chaotic battlefield began to tremble violently. A vast and mysterious energy gushed out like a volcanic eruption. The destiny galaxy above Ling Xiao's head was dazzling. Large purple stars floated up and down, releasing endless light and heat like the sun. Don't resist. Then, the flipping sky seal began to spin and turned into a dazzling light, taking the Shaman King into the world of the flipping sky seal. Although Second Uncle had once been the device spirit of the Celestial Emperor's seal, and the flipping sky seal was also a part of the Celestial Emperor's seal, Second Uncle was no longer a device spirit. He had no intention of taking back the flipping sky seal and returned it to Ling Xiao. Chaotic light rose around Ling Xiao, and the vast galaxy of destiny completely enveloped Ling Xiao. Then he slowly disappeared in front of Zhao Ritian and Second Uncle. Second Uncle, what exactly is the chosen one? Zhao Ritian asked doubtfully. Although he knew the importance of the chosen one, and knew that the chosen one would obtain supreme opportunities and good fortune, he was still somewhat puzzled by such a title. After all, the chosen one would only appear at the end of an epoch, and the chosen one would be the most dazzling among the countless geniuses in the universe. Legend had it that as long as the chosen one did not fall, he was destined to become an emperor, and become the master of the next epoch. The chosen one is the lucky one who is chosen by the heavenly way and is protected by the heavenly way. As for what opportunities and good fortune he has, it's a secret that no one knows. However, although Ling Xiao has become the chosen one, he still has a great tribulation to overcome. Second uncle lamented. You mean the textless heavenly book? Zhao Ritian's heart skipped a beat. That's right. The textless heavenly book has been exposed. Moreover, Ling Xiao has killed so many emperors, supreme geniuses, and demon-like geniuses of the ancient tribes. I'm afraid many experts will take action this time to snatch his textless heavenly book. This is a tribulation in his life. If he can't overcome it, even if he's the chosen one, he will still fall. Second uncle said slowly. He saved my life. I have to stay and help him. Zhao Ritian said seriously. Even if you stay, it won't help. Although you have an ultimate emperor weapon, you're still too weak. You won't be of much use if you stay. Why don't you come with me to meet someone? If he's willing to help, he might be able to increase Ling Xiao's chances of escaping. Second uncle shook his head and said, Who is it? Zhao Ritian asked curiously. You'll know when you get there. Second uncle kept Zhao Ritian in suspense, and did not tell him directly. Instead, he turned into a ray of light and entered Zhao Ritian's body. Zhao Ritian nodded and left the place according to second uncle's instructions. After Ling Xiao had become the chosen one, the chaos battlefield had opened. All the seals and barriers were opened, and they could leave the place immediately. What appeared in front of Ling Xiao was a turbulent chaos sea. The chaos sea was filled with fog, and one could not tell the direction. There was no concept of time and space. Even the Great Path Order had been completely severed. What is this place? Ling Xiao looked at the scene in front of him suspiciously. He had been brought here by the galaxy of destiny above his head. There seemed to be no living beings here. The surrounding strands of chaotic chi could devour all life. Countless mysterious energy rays intertwined, forming all kinds of mysterious scenes that contained extremely terrifying power fluctuations. Ling Xiao could feel that if it were not for the protection of the fate energy around him, he would have disappeared completely in this terrifying chaos sea. Crack! Suddenly, a blazing lightning exploded in the chaos sea before him. It pierced through the chaos sea and split the endless chaos sea into two. Clear chi rose to the sky while turbid chi sank to the ground. Yin and Yang were born from the opposition. Earth, water, wind, and fire stabilized the Great Path Order. The embryonic form of the world began to appear in front of Ling Xiao. This was the scene of the creation of the world. Ling Xiao felt as if he had returned to the beginning of the world. Before all living beings were born, he saw the mysterious scene of the creation of the world in the chaos sea. This scene was naturally extremely shocking to Ling Xiao. It was like he had experienced it himself. He felt the aura of the Khanate origin and the birth of the Great Path Order from chaos to calmness. He saw that at the beginning of the creation of the world, countless strands of Khanate chi were nurtured by life, turning into powerful chaotic god fiends. He saw that the chaotic god fiends could capture the stars and the moon. They were indomitable and possessed the power to destroy everything with a single move. However, due to various reasons, a great war between god fiends and god fiends broke out in the end. He also saw that the world gradually evolved and matured. The Great Path Order stabilized and all living beings began to be born. They multiplied in this world and gave birth to one civilization after another. He also saw that the world had multiplied to the extreme. Many world-shaking supreme experts had appeared, and they were not satisfied with the restrictions of the world. They began to leave the world and enter the sea of chaos to explore. There were even great battles that broke out one after another. In the end, the world began to decline. It was like the cycle of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. The world collapsed, all living beings died, and everything returned to chaos. This was the cycle of a world. Chapter 23:18. Just as Ling Xiao became the heaven's chosen child, and entered that unknown land, the ancient land of primal chaos underwent a drastic change. Rumble. 9-colored divine light filled the sky and dispersed the chaotic mist. Colorful celestial flowers sprinkled down, looking mysterious and ethereal. Illusory golden lotuses appeared densely on the ground like a golden ocean, incomparably pure and holy. Flowers rained down from the sky. Golden lotuses sprouted from the ground. This was a celestial phenomenon that would only appear when an almighty expert broke through. At this moment, such a phenomenon appeared in the chaotic ancient land, causing everyone to tremble involuntarily. The Chosen One has appeared? Who is it? Such a celestial phenomenon appearing in the chaotic ancient land was impossible, even if someone had proven their Tao and become a saint. There was only one conclusion: the Chosen One had appeared. After the final battlefield appeared, only the 108 prodigies who obtained the ancient seal could enter the final battlefield to compete for the title of Chosen One. Now that such a phenomenon had appeared, it meant that the true Chosen One had appeared. The entire chaotic ancient land began to boil. Everyone's eyes were filled with incomparable anticipation, waiting for the Chosen One to appear. Legend had it that the Chosen One was a prodigy that led an epoch. They could lead a race to become the epic lord and create a glorious and grand epic. Countless years ago, the demon lord was like this, and so was the celestial emperor of this epoch. And this time, who would be the Chosen One? I saw someone come out of the final battlefield. He said, the Chosen One is Ling Xiao. An incomparably explosive piece of news came, revealing the true identity of the heaven's Chosen One. Ling Xiao? Who's Ling Xiao? That name is so unfamiliar. I thought the Chosen One this time would be the Son of Heaven, or one of the princes of the demon world. Why is it this Ling Xiao? I'm not sure. What's Ling Xiao's background? Everyone was discussing animatedly, and their eyes were filled with incomparable doubt. Ling Xiao is Long Outyin of the War God Temple. His real name is Ling Xiao, but he's using the alias Long Outyin. This time, the Chosen One is him. Finally, a prodigy from the final battlefield spoke, revealing Ling Xiao's identity with a single sentence. Also, you don't know yet, right? The reason why Ling Xiao changed his name to Long Outyin was because he was afraid of exposing his identity. This name was taboo. He ascended from the mortal realm, and he has a supreme treasure with him. A chaos supreme treasure that almost caused a war between the human clan and the demon clan 1,000,000 years ago. Are you talking about that? That's right. It is the wordless heavenly book. Hiss. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They were completely stunned. What kind of treasure was the wordless heavenly book? The wordless heavenly book was one of the legendary 10 great chaos treasures. At the beginning of the era, the death of the Sky Emperor was related to the wordless heavenly book. It was originally under the control of the devil race, but for some unknown reason, it fell into the hands of the Scarlet Dragon War God 1,000,000 years ago, causing a great war. Thus, the great name of the wordless heavenly book resounded like thunder in everyone's ears. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to have such a great background. Not only did he become the Chosen One this time, but he also possessed the wordless heavenly book, a primal chaos treasure. I'm afraid Ling Xiao is in danger. He's a human clan, but not only is he the Chosen One, but he also possesses the wordless heavenly book. I'm afraid the demon realm won't let him go. Some experts of the human race began to worry. The entire chaotic ancient land was in an uproar because of these two pieces of news. Everyone had their own ulterior motives. Some wanted to spread the news to the outside world. Some wanted to track Ling Xiao's whereabouts, and some wanted to protect Ling Xiao. For a moment, the undercurrent was turbulent, as if a storm was brewing. Gotcha. At the same time, the passageway to the myriad worlds in the chaotic ancient land opened. Those who were still in the chaotic ancient land were directly sent out by an irresistible force. The appearance of the Heaven's Chosen Child meant that the Heaven's Chosen convention was over. The remaining people were naturally rejected by the primal chaos ancient land and sent out. News of what had happened in the chaotic ancient land spread throughout the universe. The demon realm. What? All 3 imperial princes are dead? How? How is this possible? In the depths of the demon realm, in a place shrouded in demonic light, dozens of powerful figures stood. Their auras were as vast and unfathomable as the sea. Every one of them seemed to be the embodiment of the great Tao, causing the surrounding void to shake violently. Their cultivation was extremely terrifying. The weakest one was a Saint King realm super expert. Every move of theirs was filled with mysterious Taoist rhymes. This was the core of the demon realm. The 10 sects of the demon realm, the various great emperor clans, and the supreme experts formed the Elder Council to rule the entire demon realm. At this moment, after hearing the news from the chaotic ancient land, they were all shocked. The demon realm is going to change. The Blood Prison Prince, Original Prince, and Undying Prince have all died in the chaotic ancient land. Although the 3 demon emperors are now in seclusion in the depths of the chaotic sea, once they hear the news, will be implicated. We have to catch the culprit and avenge them. An ice-cold voice sounded. His eyes, which were like blood moons, were filled with cruelty and fear. Ling Xiao. I didn't expect the wordless heavenly book that we've been tracking for so long to be in his hands. He's also the murderer of the 3 great emperors. He deserves to die. The most important thing is that Ling Xiao has become the chosen child. Have you forgotten about the heavenly emperor? In the next era, we can't let such a peerless figure appear in the human race. We must nip him in the bud. That's right. This person is the mortal enemy of the demon realm. Whether it's because of the wordless heavenly book or because he's the chosen child, he must die. But how are we going to kill Ling Xiao? Now the chaotic ancient land is gradually closing. Although Ling Xiao is still in the chaotic ancient land, according to the records in the ancient books, the chosen child will directly return to his world, which is the realm of the gods. As long as we set up an inescapable net in the realm of the gods and closely monitor the void passage between the chaotic ancient land and the realm of the gods, we'll definitely find Ling Xiao's whereabouts. This time let's activate the few spies in the realm of the gods. At the same time, send out a few great sage kings, one in the open and one in the dark. We must kill Ling Xiao and bring back the wordless heavenly book. Agreed. Agreed. No problem. Many powerful figures intertwined their divine thoughts and finally reached a consensus. Chapter 23:19. Ling Xiao sat in the sea of chaos as he watched the chaos split open the world before him. 12 mysterious halos revolved around him, making him seem like he had transcended everything. He was untainted by dust. Chaos, fate, karma, samsara. The 12 heavenly methods seemed to form everything in the universe. They were the cornerstones of the world. Under such a state, Ling Xiao's comprehension of the 12 heavenly methods increased by leaps and bounds. Rumble. Streaks of chaotic lightning appeared around Ling Xiao, intertwining with one another. They were like lightning dragons wreaking havoc. They contained an extremely shocking spiritual fluctuation, enveloping his entire body. At the same time, as Ling Xiao breathed in and out, the chaotic aura in the surroundings surged over, turning into strands of chaotic energy that began to refine his body and soul. The chaotic energy contained the endless laws of the world. Even saints would not dare to devour this energy directly, or they would directly explode and die. Only experts who had touched upon the realm of gods would be bold enough to refine chaotic energy, allowing them to cross the sea of chaos with their bodies. Now, under the support of the 12 heavenly methods and the protection of the vast fortune of the races, Ling Xiao began to be refined by the chaotic energy. He slowly transformed into an extremely wondrous state. His flesh and blood became translucent as strands of chaotic aura flowed through them. They gave off an ancient and eternal pulse. His bones originally shone resplendently with golden light, as if they had been cast from gold. However, they were now covered in a layer of chaotic aura, turning dark gold. Vaguely, there seemed to be inscriptions that appeared, making his bones even tougher. The biggest change was in Ling Xiao's soul. It looked translucent and flawless, like a Buddha sitting cross-legged in his sea of consciousness. However, as the chaotic energy surged in, Ling Xiao's soul actually collapsed. It shattered like a mirror immediately, exploding into a resplendent rain of light. The chaotic energy was vast and boundless, containing the power of destruction and rebirth. After Ling Xiao's soul shattered, it recovered very quickly. Every time a strand of chaotic energy surged in, Ling Xiao's soul would shatter. Even saints would probably go mad from the excruciating pain. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was extremely calm. It was as if the Yuan spirit was not his at all. He calmly watched the Yuan spirit shatter and regenerate. He watched as the chaotic energy refined it. He watched as the flaws disappeared bit by bit, becoming truly flawless. In the end, Ling Xiao's soul shone with a gray luster. It actually seemed to possess a body, becoming tangible. However, the power hidden within was over 100 times greater than before. This was a type of refinement at the deepest level, and it was also a type of great fortune and opportunity. Although Ling Xiao had no idea where he was, he could vaguely sense that this was the land of the heavens, where the heavenly ways were born. The 3,000 origins of the ways gathered here, forming the heavenly ways. Originally, this was a place where no one could enter. Even great emperors would be rejected by the heavenly Tao, unable to take a peek at this sacred realm. However, Ling Xiao had received the blessing of the fate of the myriad races during the Heavenly Selection Convention, becoming the chosen one and entering this place in the end. Ling Xiao could sense that the vast galaxy of fate above his head had silently fused into his body as his body transformed. It had entered his flesh, bones, soul, and even heart. This was the fate of the myriad races, which could also be called the fate of the ways of the heavens. The fate of the myriad races had gathered in a single person, completely becoming a part of Ling Xiao now, becoming one with him. Ling Xiao felt warm and comfortable all over his body. It was as if all the shackles on his body had been broken, and all the shackles had disappeared. He was completely unrestrained, and he felt a great sense of freedom and joy. Ling Xiao could even sense that his affinity with the ways of the ways had become extremely high. He could comprehend the mysteries of the laws of the ways very easily. With the blessing of the ways of the heavens today, even if I enter the myriad worlds and territories of the myriad races in the future, I'll probably not be rejected or suppressed by the ways of the gods. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a look of understanding as he thought to himself. The myriad worlds were occupied by powerful races. Apart from the laws of the ways of each major world, there was also the fate of the race that suppressed them. For example, if the experts of the demons entered the gods' world, they would be suppressed by the fate of the humans in the gods' world. The strength they could unleash would be greatly reduced, and the stronger they were, the more obvious it would be. As a result, although the demons coveted the gods' world, they rarely sent experts there. In fact, they preferred to directly lure in the humans and bestow the bloodline of the demons to stir up trouble. However, with the blessing of the ways of the heavens, Ling Xiao would not be suppressed at all even if he entered the myriad worlds in the future. This was the most direct benefit of the fate of the ways of the heavens. As for the other mysteries, Ling Xiao would have to explore them himself. Rumble. As the chaotic energy tempered Ling Xiao, a dazzling light bloomed above his head. 3 immortal flowers of the great path floated out, sparkling and translucent. They emitted a dazzling and ethereal immortal light. 3 small figures sat cross-legged in the flowers of the ways of the great path. Their faces were similar to Ling Xiao's. The one in the center was real, the one on the left exuded an aura of vicissitudes, and the one on the right exuded a fluctuation of the future. They were heaven, earth and human. At this moment, Ling Xiao had reached the great circle of the half-saint realm. He could become a saint at any time. My physical body is very strong, and the secret skill of the ancestral dragon has broken through to the ancestral dragon body. However, because I don't have the bloodline of the ancestral dragon in me, it's not the true ancestral dragon body. It seems that I'm very close to becoming a saint physically, but there's still a huge difference. However, with today's opportunity, there's a glimmer of hope. Perhaps I can use the chaotic energy to become a saint physically. Ling Xiao thought to himself as a sharp glint appeared in his eyes. Ling Xiao's physical body, primordial spirit, precepts, and heart force had all reached the great circle. Among the 4 of them, his physical body was still the strongest. He had always had the ambition to become one of the 4 saints in the past and present. Then he would start with becoming a saint physically. Rumble. Ling Xiao's body emitted a brilliant light. He began to activate the wordless heavenly book and the sky-devouring secret skill. He took the initiative to devour the chaotic energy around him and integrate it into his flesh and blood. Strands of chaotic energy entered Ling Xiao's body. They were like blades that wreaked havoc in his body. The pain was like being cut into pieces. It was excruciating. However, Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with determination and madness. He quietly waited for the final transformation of his physical body. Chapter 23:20. The Saint Tao realm was a very mysterious realm. Ascending from the God realm to the Saint realm wasn't inferior to ascending from the mortal realm to the God realm, and it was even more difficult than ascending from the mortal realm to the God realm. In the universe, the mortal realm was naturally an insignificant ant that had just stepped onto the path of the martial Tao, whereas the God realm was considered the backbone, and could barely be considered to have touched upon the Tao and the laws. Only the Saint realm was a true expert, an existence that suppressed the foundation. The Saint realm experts were always the most important in determining the strength of an ancient clan, a sacred ground, or even a race. They represented a powerful foundation and limitless possibilities. Only by stepping foot into the Saint realm would one have a chance to glimpse the supreme God realm, suppress the universe, and sweep through the invincible. The mortal realm, God realm, Saint realm, and Emperor realm. These were the 4 stages on the path of the martial Tao. Ling Xiao was now at the perfection of the Ascension realm, but strictly speaking, he was only at the God realm. If he wanted to surpass the God realm and enter the Saint realm, it would be a type of transformation for Ling Xiao, a type of evolution in the level of life. The path Ling Xiao wanted to take wasn't an ordinary path of the Saint realm, but the physical body of a saint. The reason the physical body of a saint realm was so difficult was because the strength of a person was limited, while the energy of the world was boundless. Whether it was cultivating the origin spirit, the laws, or the heart energy, they could all rely on the energy of the world to break through the limits, seize heaven-defying fortune, and comprehend the energy of the grand Tao and the laws. On the other hand, the physical body of a saint realm had to rely on oneself. One had to rely on nothing but the physical body to break through the restraints of the world. This path was bound to be the most difficult path. So since ancient times, the number of people who could achieve the physical body of a saint realm could be counted on one's fingers. It required great fortune, great perseverance, and great courage, and it was impossible for ordinary people to accomplish. Even though Ling Xiao had the ambition to achieve the physical body of a saint realm, he knew how difficult it was and how little hope there was. But now, he'd become the chosen one and come to this unknown place, and the vast chaotic energy allowed Ling Xiao to see hope. Rumble. The chaotic energy surged like a vast ocean as it ceaselessly washed over Ling Xiao's body. Every strand of chaotic energy was like a blade, extremely heavy, and it contained the chaotic laws of the Grand Tao. It made Ling Xiao feel as if he was being sliced into pieces, and he suffered endless pain at all times. However, Ling Xiao's expression was extremely calm. He was even immersed in this kind of cultivation. The pain of the physical body was more like a kind of spiritual enjoyment to him. The tempering of the chaotic mist made Ling Xiao's blood boil. Golden light coiled around his body, fusing with the chaotic energy and forming mysterious inscriptions. They moved through his flesh and blood, eventually imprinting themselves on his bones. The invasion of the chaotic energy was like a form of destruction to Ling Xiao's physical body, but it was also like a form of rebirth. Just like the flowers and plants that survived a storm, they would have a stronger and more exuberant life force. It was a kind of evolution in the level of life. Not only was the chaotic energy refined and guided in Ling Xiao's body, but it had also entered his soul. His soul was immersed in the boundless state of Wei, resonating with his body. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the chaos as his body continued to transform. His body was translucent like a glazed divine gold. The textless heavenly scroll flew out from between Ling Xiao's eyebrows and hovered above his head. It radiated with an extremely powerful devouring force. Ling Xiao had completely activated the secret technique of heaven devouring. The vast chaotic energy in the surroundings surged towards Ling Xiao wildly. Ling Xiao was like a bottomless pit, not rejecting any of it. He devoured all the chaotic energy. The chaotic energy entered Ling Xiao's flesh and blood, penetrating deep into his bones, meridians, and soul. In the end, it changed Ling Xiao from the inside out. His body was extremely tough in the first place. It was translucent, without any impurities. However, under the tempering of the boundless primal chaos energy, Ling Xiao's flesh and blood actually leaked out traces of black qi. That was the Tao injury caused by the continuous battles. Although it was light, it would become a flaw that could not be healed over time. The chaotic energy was extremely violent and chaotic, but it was all-round when it came to tempering Ling Xiao's body. Very soon, he began to shine with a pure light from the inside out. Crackle! 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 Ling Xiao's entire body crackled like beans being fried. His bones trembled and turned into a mysterious sound, making his bones even more translucent. Chaotic energy surged into every single pore on Ling Xiao's body. It was like the creation of the world. Earth, water, wind, and fire actually surged out, freezing the space there and forming a mysterious miniature world. The miniature world shone with divine light as auspicious vapors rose up. Various gods appeared, like the gods of creation. Their faces were extremely similar to Ling Xiao's. The gods chanted at the same time. Their voices intertwined with one another, becoming louder and louder. In the end, it was like a tsunami, forming a vast sound that made Ling Xiao tremble all over. His body seemed to form divine kingdoms one after another, translucent and translucent. A resplendent layer formed on the surface of his body, radiating with an eternal light. It seemed like dragon scales, but it also seemed like he had put on a layer of armor. It shone with a resplendent light, eternal and indestructible. From the inside to the outside, from the outside to the inside, his physical body and primordial spirit were transforming at the same time. Ling Xiao felt as if the great Tao had appeared in front of him, and was within his reach. However, there seemed to be a layer of terrifying shackles in his body. As long as he broke this shackle, he would be able to touch the supreme great Tao and become a saint. This was the shackle of his physical body. Only by breaking the shackle could his physical body become a saint. Even though Ling Xiao's physical body was already extremely strong, he still felt that the shackle was like a divine chain of order. It wrapped around his body and firmly restrained the power of his physical body. The small world that Ling Xiao had opened up through his pores seemed to have been sealed, and he was unable to fully unleash its power. Break for me. Ling Xiao's eyes suddenly opened. In an instant, blazing divine light spewed out from his eyes. It was as if the entire chaotic void was completely illuminated. An ancient and mysterious sound came from his body. It was like a dragon's roar, like a tiger's roar, and also like the supreme sound of the great Tao that could split the world. It resounded through the sky. Rumble. The light around Ling Xiao's body was dazzling. Suddenly, a thick and ancient divine chain of order appeared. It contained an ancient and boundless aura. The shackle of his physical body that was originally illusory seemed to be real at this moment. As Ling Xiao's physical body released a terrifying divine power, the shackle of his physical body was also completely taut. It was as if it was going to break at any time. The heavens and earth shook. In this vast chaotic void, streaks of terrifying chaotic lightning suddenly appeared. They emitted a destructive aura that made one's scalp go numb. They directly blasted towards Ling Xiao. Chapter 23-21. Kacha. Streaks of chaotic thunderbolts were as terrifying as mountains. Some of the thunderbolts were even imbued with spirituality and turned into thunderous dragons, thunderous tigers, thunderous cheilants, and other beasts. They pounced towards Ling Xiao at the same time. Ling Xiao wanted to break through the shackles of his physical body. Instantly, the great Tao sensed it, and a terrifying divine tribulation descended. Endless thunderbolts intertwined, and it made one's heart palpitate. Such a terrifying divine tribulation would cause even a true sage to be fearful and not have any thoughts of resisting it. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a sharp light, and his eyes lit up instantly. An incomparably strong fighting spirit emerged. In Ling Xiao's opinion, this divine tribulation wasn't a tribulation to stop his physical body from becoming a sage. Instead, it was the strongest aid to help him break through the shackles of his physical body and become a sage. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Xiao's fists were like dragons, and he didn't hesitate to release his strongest strength. He continuously attacked the thunderbolts in the sky. Every time his fists collided with the thunderbolts, it was as if the heavens were falling and the earth was cracking. Huge thunderbolts were created. The terrifying divine tribulation enveloped Ling Xiao. The thunderbolts were filled with chaotic light, and they were all formed by the Great Tao. They contain the murderous intent of the Great Tao. Every thunderbolt was comparable to a full-powered attack from a sage. It was extremely terrifying. The thunderbolts shrouded Ling Xiao, and the roars of dragons and tigers could be heard from within. They even turned into ancient weapons, as if they were the imprints of the Great Tao Emperor, weapons of the Antiquity Age. They contained peerless murderous intent. Ling Xiao had also gone crazy from the battle. His blood was boiling and his blood-red cloak was fluttering behind him. His black hair danced wildly, and his eyes were like blazing suns that pierced through the thunderbolts. Roar! Ling Xiao suddenly roared at the sky. He opened his mouth and a powerful devouring force came from it. It was like a whale swallowing the sea, swallowing the lightning that filled the sky. Rumble! The thunderbolts exploded in Ling Xiao's body and spread through his flesh and bones. They gushed out from his pores and bombarded the shackles of his physical body. Kacha! The shackles of his physical body shook violently and cracks appeared as if they were going to break at any time. Open! Ling Xiao's spirit was shaken, and his eyes were filled with a blazing sharpness. Terrifying divine power erupted from his body, and his arms seemed to have penetrated the boundary between reality and illusion. He directly grabbed the shackle and pulled violently. Boom! The shackles around Ling Xiao's body were blasted into smithereens. The shackles of his body had been completely shattered. Rumble! Ling Xiao's body glowed brightly. Beams of light shot out and intertwined with each other. It was as if they could pierce through the heavens, containing the power to destroy everything. The small worlds in his acupuncture points originally contained a vast amount of power, which was the divine treasure of his fleshly body. However, because of the existence of the shackles of his fleshly body, they couldn't burst out. Now that the shackles on his body had been broken, the vast power intertwined with each other, and turned into a storm that swept in all directions, causing the entire sea of chaos to tremble violently. Ling Xiao floated in the void with his eyes lowered. His expression was incomparably calm, and the corners of his mouth curled into a faint smile. He had a kind of great joy, great freedom, and great detachment. He felt that the heavens and earth had become incomparably clear. He could see through the essence of the sea of chaos in all directions, and the chaotic Great Tao laws could no longer affect him. At this moment, a bright rain of light appeared from Ling Xiao's primordial spirit, which directly blended into his flesh and bones, perfectly fusing into one. Every drop of his flesh and blood contained Ling Xiao's primordial spirit, cultivation, and memory imprints. As long as he had a drop of flesh and blood, he could immediately restore his true body. This was the true immortal body, rebirth from a drop of blood. Is this the physical sanctification? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of understanding. The immortal body was one of the most obvious divine powers of the divine body. With the immortal body, even a Sage King expert could forget about completely killing Ling Xiao. Besides the immortal body, Ling Xiao felt that his divine body treasury had been completely opened up. His physical strength was more than 10 times or 100 times stronger than before. Now he could directly kill a sage with a casual punch. This was the terrifying part of the divine body. Although this path was extremely difficult, once he successfully broke the shackles and became a divine body, he could rely on his own strength to break through and shatter everything, possessing invincible combat strength. Now Ling Xiao had finally broken through to the sage realm. If anyone knew that Ling Xiao had broken the shackles of the divine body, they would definitely be incomparably shocked. After all, this path was too difficult. It was rare for one to appear in millions of years, let alone a human with a weak physical body. Now Ling Xiao had done it. With the divine body, my current combat strength should be enough to sweep across the sage realm. I can even fight against the supreme sage. If my primordial spirit, precepts, and heart force can all become a sage at the same time, reaching the 4-sage realm, then even a sage's cultivation will be enough to suppress a supreme sage and be invincible. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly, revealing a strong sense of confidence. Ever since he ascended from the god of war realm to the god realm, Ling Xiao had always felt a sense of danger. He was afraid that his identity would be exposed, so he cultivated with all his might. After experiencing countless life and death hardships, he finally had the cultivation today. Although the divine body was not invincible, it already gave him the strength to establish a foothold in the God realm. After returning to the God realm this time, I can find a chance to go down to the lower realm and bring father and mother there. Staying in the lower realm will always be a hidden danger, Ling Xiao thought to himself. Buzz! The dazzling golden light around him slowly receded, and the runes looked incomparably mysterious. They were crystal clear as if they contained the principles of heaven and earth. However, at this moment, all of them receded into his body, disappearing without a trace. When Ling Xiao's aura receded, it was as if he had no cultivation at all. He was just like an ordinary scholar, without a trace of an expert's fluctuation. After the divine body, Ling Xiao had reached the realm of returning to one's original state. Even if he did not use the heaven-shrouding secret technique, ordinary people would not be able to see through his cultivation. However, Ling Xiao felt a little regretful. Although he had broken the shackles of his physical body with the help of the chaotic energy, his primordial spirit, precepts, and heart force were still a little lacking. He needed to slowly polish his cultivation and push all three of them to the perfect realm before he could continue to break through. You're the first to use the chaotic energy to achieve divine body. Not bad, not bad. Suddenly, an old voice rang in Ling Xiao's ears. Who's there? Ling Xiao's expression changed, and he looked in front of him cautiously. Buzz! A dazzling light filled the air, and a figure emerged from the chaotic mist, reflected in Ling Xiao's eyes. Chapter 23-22. It was an old man with white hair and a white beard. He wore a Taoist robe and his face was ruddy like a baby's. He looked like an immortal with an ethereal and otherworldly temperament. His eyes, in particular, were ancient, wise, and profound. It was as if he had seen through the long river of time, and seen through the boundless mortal world. He had a great sense of freedom. He walked out of the chaos. His original figure was incomparably illusory, but when he walked in front of Ling Xiao, it was as if he had passed through endless time and space and became real. Who are you? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he stared at the old man in front of him. He did not feel a trace of cultivation from this old man, but the old man gave him an unfathomable feeling. It was as if this endless sea of chaos made one's heart palpitate. Who am I? That's a question from a long time ago. The young man who asked me this question last time seemed to be called Di Jun. The old man with white hair and beard smiled faintly. His expression was very amiable. Di Jun. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. His eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. He had talked with Zhao Ritian before and knew that the Sky Emperor's real name was Di Jun. This old man with white hair and beard actually called the Sky Emperor a young man. Could it be that he met the Sky Emperor at the end of the last demon era, during the Chosen One conference? If that was the case, then this old man's background was simply terrifying to the extreme. Senior, Di Jun is His Majesty the Sky Emperor of the human race. Could it be that you met His Majesty at the last Chosen One conference? Senior, who are you? Ling Xiao cupped his hands and bowed to the old man. He did not feel the slightest hostility from this old man. Instead, he felt a very amiable aura. This made him even more curious about this old man's background. That's right. Di Jun was indeed the chosen one last time. I didn't expect that kid to be so amazing in the end. Not only did he become the first celestial emperor of the human race, he actually swept through the heavens and created the human era. He is indeed the most talented person I have ever seen in countless eras. The old man smiled and said with some emotion, As for who I am, can't you guess it? Rumble. As soon as the old man finished speaking, a vast and majestic way permeated the surroundings, causing the chaos sea in the surroundings to tremble violently. Strands of laws permeated the air, as if they could connect the heavens and the myriad worlds. It was mysterious and unfathomable. This is the aura of the heavenly Tao. Could it be that you are? Ling Xiao's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief and shock. He could actually sense the aura of the 3,000 great Taos from the old man's body. Furthermore, the old man exuded the power of the origin of the world. Facing the old man, Ling Xiao felt like he was facing the heavens and the earth. Could this old man be the supreme heavenly Tao of all the realms? This thought made Ling Xiao extremely shocked. He even felt that it was crazy, but it was an incomparably real feeling. That's right. I am the heavenly Tao. To be exact, I am the spirit of the heavenly Tao, and also the incarnation of the heavenly Tao. I can only awaken from my slumber when the great tribulation of the epoch is about to occur, and the world is about to be destroyed and reborn. The old man said with a smile. Boom. He slowly stretched out his arm, and his 5 fingers moved slightly. Suddenly, runes rose up, and a chaotic light exploded, opening up an ancient world, giving birth to countless creatures. He clenched his fist, and immediately, the world collapsed and returned to chaos. Behind the old man, Ling Xiao could see many ancient worlds emerging from the streams of chaotic light. Countless worlds were born and destroyed, but the old man exuded an eternal and indestructible aura. Almost instantly Ling Xiao believed it. This old man could actually control the 3,000 great Daos, and he could also control the chaos to open up the heavens and earth at will. The boundless aura of the origin was incomparably majestic and endless. Ling Xiao felt that even a great emperor would pale in comparison to this old man. If this old man wasn't the heavenly Tao, who else could be? Old man heavenly Tao? I originally thought that the heavenly Tao was a law and order without a physical body. I didn't expect the heavenly Tao to be able to take the form of a human. It seems that I have been ignorant. Ling Xiao said with some emotion. He felt an aura of the same origin from the heavenly Tao elder in front of him. Almost instantly, he understood the meaning of the chosen one. The so-called Son of Heaven was a person chosen by the heavenly Tao. They were blessed with the karmic luck of the heavenly Tao, and possessed the fortune bestowed by the heavenly Tao. Only then would they be able to advance courageously on the path of martial Tao. The heavenly Tao luck on his body should have come from the heavenly Tao elder in front of him. Even the chaotic energy was bestowed by the heavenly Tao elder. Otherwise, Ling Xiao wouldn't have been able to attain Sage Realm so easily. Everything has a spirit. Grass, trees, mountains, and rocks all have a spirit. Why can't the heavenly Tao have a spirit? Ling Xiao, you were able to come here not only because I chose you, but also because your talent far surpasses everyone else. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to become the chosen one. The heavenly Tao elder smiled faintly. Heavenly Tao elder, since you are the heavenly Tao of this universe, why are you here? Could it be that you have something for me to do? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he cupped his hands and bowed. You don't have to test me. I have no ill intentions towards you. Since I am the heavenly Tao, there is naturally nothing I don't know and nothing I can't do. Of course, I have my mission by appearing here. I am also waiting for your arrival. The heavenly Tao elder looked at Ling Xiao with a deep gaze as though he could see through Ling Xiao with a single glance. Waiting for my arrival? Ling Xiao asked doubtfully. That's right. Do you know the origin of the heavenly choice meeting? The heavenly Tao elder nodded. I don't know. Ling Xiao shook his head. The heavenly choice meeting only appears at the end of an era. Its purpose is to maintain the order of the universe. It selects the most talented person from the billions of races, and bestows them with the heavenly Tao luck, so that they can lead a race to prosperity and create a new era. This is the origin of the chosen one. And you are the 108th chosen one. The heavenly Tao elder said slowly with an ethereal voice. 108? Could it be that this universe has already experienced 108 eras? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. The mysteries of the universe that the heavenly Tao elder spoke of shocked him greatly. An era could easily last for billions of years. Who knew how many powerful races, peerless figures, and prosperous civilizations were born? Chapter 23-23. Before the human epoch was the demon epoch. Because the demon race was too powerful, their foundations were incomparably deep, and they were once the lords of several epochs. The human race was unable to exterminate the demon race. Otherwise, the human epoch would have been founded on the destruction of the demon race. After hundreds of millions of years, perhaps no one would even remember that the demon race had once existed. But now Elder Heaven was telling Ling Xiao that the world had already experienced 108 epochs. This represented 108 powerful races. How could Ling Xiao not be shocked? 108 epochs. 108 ancient cities in the ancient chaos land, 108 secret techniques in the wordless heavenly book. Could there be some sort of connection? Ling Xiao thought to himself. Ling Xiao, do you know how the myriad worlds were formed? Old man Tian glanced at Ling Xiao and slowly explained. Actually, at the beginning of the 108 eras, there was no celestial world. There was only a complete universe, an eternal and boundless ancient continent. However, because of Emperor's fall, countless emperors fell, and that universe was shattered. Gradually, it evolved into the celestial world. The great epic calamity was like a cycle of reincarnation. It caused the myriad worlds to constantly change and approach each other. It was as if the universe wanted to repair itself and become complete. Countless fortunes and opportunities would appear during the great tribulation of an epoch. Millions of races and countless supreme experts understood this. That was why they fought for it. They wanted to create an epic and turn it into the strongest foundation of a race, as Elder Heaven. In the great epic calamity, when the universe shattered and the myriad worlds appeared, I was also torn apart. I was heavily injured and fell into a deep slumber. It was only at the end of the epic when the universe was in turmoil that I was able to temporarily awaken from my slumber and transform into my current form. However, I met the chosen one that I chose. However, 108 epochs have passed. I've waited for far too long, but I still haven't met someone who can help me. Emperor Jun almost succeeded in the past, but he still fell on the path. Today, I finally met you. Old man Tian's voice was indifferent and ethereal, but the contents of his words were like thunder in Ling Xiao's ears, causing his entire body to tremble. This was a secret of heaven and earth, a secret that even the Supreme Emperor might not know. Now Old Man Tian Dao had revealed everything to him, and he knew everything. Not only did Ling Xiao know about the origin of the great tribulation of the epoch, but he also knew about the past of this universe. Old Man Tian Dao didn't hide anything and told him everything. You waited for me? May I know why Senior is waiting for me? Even His Majesty Di Jun couldn't do it. Aren't you overestimating me? Ling Xiao asked with a bitter smile. You're right. In terms of talent, you are still far behind Di Jun. But the difference is that this is the 108th era. Old Man Tian's voice became solemn. His words almost choked Ling Xiao to death. Ling Xiao was just being modest, but he didn't expect Old Man Tian Dao to think that he was far inferior to Di Jun. This hurt Ling Xiao. After all, he knew that he wasn't weaker than anyone. Even when facing Zhao Ritian, the son of the Celestial Emperor, he didn't think that he was inferior to Zhao Ritian. But now he felt that he was being looked down upon. The 108th era? What's the difference? Ling Xiao cursed in his heart, but he still asked doubtfully. Of course it's different. The 108th era is also the last era of this universe. Just like the cycle of the 4 seasons, this universe is about to enter winter. The great tribulation of the epoch this time will be more tragic than any other time. Billions of races from all over the universe will be swept in. Even those self-proclaimed old monsters and supreme experts from a few eras ago will awaken. When the time comes, there will definitely be an earth-shattering war. Old Man Tian Dao's face was filled with compassion. The most tragic great tribulation of the epoch? What is this so-called great tribulation? Why can it cause a war between all the worlds? Ling Xiao asked. When the great tribulation of the epoch descends, the world barrier of all the worlds in the universe will become extremely weak. Moreover, the suppression of the Great Path Order will also be reduced to the lowest. What do you think will happen? Old Man Tian Dao asked. What? Ling Xiao was shocked. If the world barrier became extremely weak, wouldn't it mean that one would be able to enter and exit other worlds at will? By then, the divine world that the human race relied on to defend against the demon race's invasion would be like a piece of paper. It would no longer be of any use. It turned out that this was the real Great Tribulation. Moreover, the reason why the Great Tribulation of the epoch this time will be even more tragic. Not only will the world barrier of all the worlds in the universe disappear, but it is also very likely that they will reunite as one and become a complete world. Old Man Tian Dao let out another thunderbolt. Reunite as one? A complete world? Ling Zhao's heart quivered as he finally felt the seriousness of the matter. If all the races in the universe were to descend upon the divine world, what would happen by then? By then, the entire divine world would be plunged into misery and suffering. Other than the 12 immortal sacred grounds and a few great emperor races who could protect themselves, most of the human race would be incomparably miserable. They would be abused by the other races and fall into endless darkness. After all, the human race had created the human epoch on the basis of bloody conquest. Other than the demon race who had already become their mortal enemy, the human race had also offended many other powerful races. If all the races entered a complete world, if there was a great emperor, perhaps the other races would be wary of them and be able to protect themselves. However, although the human race looked prosperous now, it had been countless years since a great emperor had appeared. At that time, the human race would be in the most danger. Senior, what do you need me to do? Ling Xiao saw the most terrifying future from Old Man Tiandao's description and asked seriously, Ling Xiao, if we allow the myriad races to wage war, I'm afraid it'll be another emperor's fall war. The complete world will be shattered again. At that time, our universe will truly be consigned to eternal damnation. I need you to grow as much as you can, suppress the races, and collect the fate of all races to make up for the heavenly Tao. Old Man Tiandao said to Ling Xiao, suppress the races? Collect the fate of all races? Senior, you really think highly of me. Ling Xiao said with a bitter smile. This was something that even the heavenly emperor back then had failed to do, let alone Ling Xiao who had just become a sage. Who knew how long it would take for him to reach the supreme emperor realm? I believe you. I can only believe you. I know you want to save the human race. My request does not contradict your thoughts. Chapter 23-24. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment and nodded. Senior, I will try my best, but I can't guarantee that I can fulfill your wish and mend the heavenly way. The heavenly way elder was right. Ling Xiao's goal did not conflict with the heavenly way elder's request. If Ling Xiao could really stand at the peak of the martial Tao and possess such strength and realm, it would be his duty to mend the heavenly way. I believe in you. Those who are chosen by the wordless heavenly book are the best in terms of talent and luck. Moreover, you have already proven your Tao and become a saint. You will gradually discover the wonderful effects of the wordless heavenly book. If you can prove your Tao and become an emperor, and wield the wordless heavenly book, you will definitely be able to defeat all races and suppress the heavens. The heavenly way elder smiled faintly. Ling Xiao rolled his eyes and said with a chuckle, Senior, you see, my current strength is still too weak. If I encounter a sage ruler or an imperial emperor, I won't be able to resist at all. Since I have been chosen by you as the chosen one, do you think you should bestow some treasures to me? Ling Xiao's mind started to work. Since the heavenly way elder was the incarnation of the heavenly way, he would definitely have countless treasures. Ling Xiao naturally wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to ask for more benefits. Kid, you were able to come here and absorb the luck of all races. With the help of the chaotic energy, your physical body has become a saint. Isn't that good fortune? The heavenly way elder said helplessly. Senior, although the karmic luck of the myriad races and the primal chaos energy have greatly increased my cultivation, you should know that I have the wordless heavenly book and am the chosen one. If I leave the primal chaos ancient land, not only will the devil race not let me go, but many humans will covet my wordless heavenly book as well. Why don't you bestow me with 8 or 10 life-saving trump cards? Ling Xiao chuckled. 8 or 10 life-saving trump cards. Do you think they are all cabbages? The heavenly way elder was so angry that he rolled his eyes. However, he also fell into deep thought. Ling Xiao was right. He had become the target of everyone. If he left this chaotic ancient land, he would definitely be hunted down by the demon race and many other experts. Although the heavenly way elder was the incarnation of the heavenly way, he could not directly help Ling Xiao. How about this? I can give you 2 life-saving trump cards. The Heaven's Choice Convention is being watched by countless powerhouses from all over the universe. I can't help you too blatantly, otherwise I'll be discovered. You leaving the chaotic ancient land is indeed a calamity that you are destined to face. It would be a pity if you died just like that. Old Man Tian said after some thought. Senior, please bestow a treasure upon me. Ling Xiao's heart trembled as he replied respectfully. Someone that even old man Tian Dao was afraid of was at least a peerless emperor realm expert. The primal chaos ancient land was now a whirlpool in the myriad heavens. Old man Tian Dao didn't dare to help Ling Xiao escape directly. Therefore, there was bound to be a fierce battle after he left the primal chaos ancient land. Take out the time compass. This is the only complete extreme Dao monarch weapon you have. I can help you awaken the time compass once. It will be able to unleash an attack comparable to that of a peerless emperor. I can seal it in the time compass. When you are in danger, you can activate the time compass to kill your enemies. Old man Tian slowly said. All right. Ling Xiao nodded. A bright light shone from his glabella as the black time compass flew out. It was enshrouded in bright light and flowed with the vicissitudes of time. It looked mysterious and extraordinary. Although Ling Xiao had obtained the flowing time emperor's inheritance, he still couldn't fully activate the time compass with his cultivation. He couldn't unleash the strongest power of the time compass. He handed the time compass to old man Tian Dao. Rumble. After old man Tian Dao received the time compass, he pointed his finger forward. In an instant, a blazing light flashed and rumbled like thunder. The time compass trembled slightly and a mysterious and ancient illusory image of a world appeared. It was as if the flowing time emperor's supreme true body had appeared. It was suppressing the strongest experts in the myriad heavens and killing billions of gods and devils. It was extremely powerful. Old man Tian Dao's finger was enshrouded in 7-colored radiance. In the end, it sealed the flowing time emperor's finger and turned it into a resplendent rune. Ling Xiao could feel that the flowing time emperor's finger contained an incomparably terrifying power that could kill billions of gods and devils, shatter the heavens and earth, and shatter the laws of the great Tao into dust. The power of that finger was sealed in the time compass by the old man Tian Dao. Take it. I have extracted the flowing time emperor's power from the river of time and sealed it in the time compass. As long as you activate it, you will be able to unleash the time extinguishing finger. Old man Tian Dao handed the time compass back to Ling Xiao. Thank you, senior. Ling Xiao was overjoyed. He immediately received the time compass and placed it back into his sea of consciousness to nourish it. The time extinguishing finger should be the power that the flowing time emperor used to kill billions of gods and devils. This was the flowing time emperor's full power attack. It was terrifying to the extreme. Not to mention a saint ruler, even an imperial emperor would find it difficult to withstand the power of this attack. This could be considered a true killing weapon. It gave Ling Xiao a life-saving trump card. Ling Xiao was naturally overjoyed. You're welcome. The second treasure I'm going to bestow upon you is this Hongming purple vapor. Old man Tian Dao's eyes were incomparably deep. A purple stream of air suddenly appeared in his palm. The purple stream of air looked like a small purple dragon. It flowed with brilliant colors and was extraordinarily mysterious. It contained the qi of the origin of the great Tao, and also had a transcendent power. It was incomparably mysterious. Hongming purple vapor? Ling Xiao was shocked. He had vaguely heard that the Hongming purple vapor was a supreme treasure that even the great emperors would fight for. It was incomparably precious and had incomparably mysterious uses. Now old man Tian Dao was going to bestow upon Ling Xiao a Hongming purple vapor? Senior, what is this Hongming purple vapor? How do I use it? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Hongming purple vapor. This is a supreme treasure. As for how to use it, you just have to integrate it into your primordial spirit. You will know its magical uses in the future. Old man Tian Dao said with some emotion. Although he did not say much, Ling Xiao could tell from old man Tian Dao's words that the Hongming purple vapor was probably an incredible treasure. Buzz. Without any hesitation, he directly followed old man Tian Dao's instructions and swallowed the Hongming purple vapor into his primordial spirit. The purple light looked holy and mysterious, majestic and ancient. When it integrated into Ling Xiao's primordial spirit, Ling Xiao felt warm all over. It was an indescribable comfort. However, other than that, he did not feel anything else. It seems like old man Tian Dao is right. This Hongming purple vapor is very mysterious. I need to slowly explore its mysteries. Chapter 23-25. Ling Zhao's primordial spirit sat cross-legged in his sea of consciousness. It was originally dazzling and sparkling like divine gold, but now it was enveloped by a layer of purple radiance, which made it seem indescribably noble. He felt his primordial spirit comfortable, as if his affinity with the heavens and earth had increased by a lot. "Thank you, Senior, for your treasures," Ling Zhao said seriously. He knew that whether it was the Flowing Time Emperor's full-powered attack, or the Hongmeng purple vapor, they were probably unimaginable treasures. With these two trump cards, Ling Zhao was much more confident. "You're welcome, Ling Zhao. I hope you can work hard in your cultivation and become an emperor as soon as possible. You can mend the heavens and earth for me and open up a new world. I'm leaving now." Old man Tian Dao glanced at Ling Zhao and sighed softly. "Take care, Senior." Ling Zhao nodded and said, "Meeting the old man Heavenly Dao in the Chaos Sea, and meeting the incarnation of the Heavenly Dao made Ling Zhao feel like he was in a dream. However, the opportunity and creation that the old man Heavenly Dao gave him was extremely real. After hearing many secrets of the heavens and earth from old man Tian Dao, Ling Zhao felt a stronger sense of danger in his heart. He was eager to become stronger and stronger. Old man Tian Dao glanced at Ling Zhao and smiled faintly. Then he walked into the depths of the Chaos Sea. With every step he took, his body became more illusory. In the end, he completely disappeared from the Chaos Sea as if he had never appeared. Gotcha. Right after old man Tiandao disappeared, the lightning in the Chaos Sea roared. The chaos light soared and a resplendent light bloomed. A huge void passage appeared in front of Ling Zhao. The void passage was hazy and dazzling, as if it led to an ancient world. However, Ling Zhao felt the aura from the void passage, and immediately understood that it was a void passage that led to the divine realm. The Heaven's Choice Convention. Return to where you came from. As long as you didn't die in the Chaos Ancient Land, you could return to your own world. The Heaven's Choice Convention is over. It's time to return to the divine realm. I just don't know what kind of surprise awaits me this time. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he muttered to himself. He knew that he had become a thorn in many people's eyes the moment news of him possessing the wordless heavenly book was exposed. The devil race in particular hated him to the bone. There would probably be a great battle when he left the chaotic ancient land. However, Ling Zhao still chose to step into the passageway to the God realm. Rumble. Ling Zhao exuded a powerful battle intent. His eyes were as sharp as swords, and the blood and qi around him rose as if they had materialized. They formed a huge cape, giving him an invincible aura. He stepped inside, leaving the primal chaos ancient land. At this moment, undercurrents were surging in the myriad worlds because of the Heaven's Choice Convention. Ling Zhao had become the biggest winner of the Heaven's Choice Convention in the Chaos Ancient Land, and won the title of Heaven's Chosen. This fact shocked the myriad races in the universe. After all, the human race was too powerful in this epoch. Ever since the Heavenly Emperor led the human race to the God realm, the 9 emperors of the human race had appeared one after another. They were like blazing suns in the 9 heavens, illuminating the path forward for the human race. They led the human race to prosperity and glory, creating an eternal civilization. In the eyes of many powerful races, the human race's threat was second only to the devil race. At the end of the epoch, the great calamity was about to arrive. Many races sent out their geniuses to compete for the position of Heaven's Chosen. But who would have thought that the title would be won by the human race again? After hearing this news, many experts in the universe began to fear the human race. They even viewed the human race as an existence that was as threatening as the devil race. The human race has become the Heaven's Chosen? This Ling Zhao deserves to die. We will never allow a second heavenly emperor to appear in the God realm. In an ancient world filled with an endless aura of death, even the sky was gray. Baleful energy and corpse poison filled the air, devoid of any color. This was the corpse world. A powerful expert broke out of the purple gold coffin and issued an order. That's right. Ling Zhao must die, and the wordless heavenly book must be brought back to the corpse world. I heard that the wordless heavenly book contains the ultimate mystery. The devil race was able to dominate for several epochs because of the existence of the wordless heavenly book. Another expert from the zombie clan directly broke through the mountain and soared into the sky from the endless black baleful aura. He stood at the peak of the sky, his eyes cold, his fangs sharp, and his wings blotting out the sun. I have already sensed the aura of the heavenly corpse Emperor Prince, but he fell in the ancient land of chaos. This must be related to Ling Xiao. We can't let him go. Kill. 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 Ling Xiao must die. Many experts of the zombie race reached a consensus. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Following the order of the expert of the zombie race, several incomparably powerful figures immediately bowed in response, then broke through the void and left the corpse world. After learning what happened in the ancient land of chaos, the devil world, the corpse world, the witch world, the ghost world and the death world, the supreme experts of countless powerful worlds issued orders and sent out various experts to closely monitor every movement in the ancient land of chaos. They all wanted to kill Ling Xiao and seize the wordless heavenly book. What should we do? During this period of time, the heavens have been shaken, and the undercurrents are turbulent. I heard that many experts have secretly come to the divine world to hunt Ling Xiao down. Ling Xiao is a human, and he is the chosen one. Whether he has the wordless heavenly book or not, the supreme experts of the human race should protect his safety. We can't let him be attacked by the people of other powerful clans. Who says not? I heard that the heavenly emperor of an epoch ago was once the chosen one. Later, he led the human race to defeat the suppression of the devil race, entered the divine world, and started the human race era. Now that Ling Xiao has become the chosen one, who can guarantee that he won't become the second heavenly emperor? The second heavenly emperor? That's not so easy. However, he is the chosen one of the human race. Since when is it the turn of the other powerful clans to be so arrogant and despotic? Since they dare to come to the divine world to hunt Ling Xiao, we'll make sure they don't return. That's right. I'm willing to go and protect Lord Ling Xiao. No matter what, the human race should unite to protect Lord Ling Xiao. We can't let him die in the hands of those devil race bastards. You guys are still too naive. Although Ling Xiao is the chosen one, he has offended too many people. The 9 imperial gates, the 5 elements celestial sect, the sky gate of time and space. I heard that he has offended more than half of the 12 immortal sacred grounds. Many of the 12 sacred grounds saints and geniuses have died in his hands. Do you think they will help Ling Xiao? Isn't that so? Ling Xiao still has the wordless heavenly book in his possession. As the saying goes, a man's wealth is his own ruin. Who knows, there might be many people in the human race who want him dead, so that they can seize his wordless heavenly book. How lamentable. The entire divine world was in an uproar because of the chosen one. Many experts of the human race were discussing and paying attention to Ling Xiao's news. However, there were those who were filled with righteous indignation, those whose blood was boiling, those who were sympathetic and worried, and those who were gloating. Chapter 23-26. Jade Emperor Celestial Domain, Ling Xiao Mountain. Ling Xiao Mountain was located at the edge of Jade Emperor Celestial Domain, close to the Endless Sea. It was a forbidden area in Jade Emperor Celestial Domain. Legend had it that Ling Xiao Mountain was the location of the ancient heavenly court. There were countless jade palaces and a supreme great emperor overseeing the place. There were countless rare birds and beasts, exotic flowers and herbs. It was even said that the heavenly emperor had once built a heavenly palace here. However, it was completely destroyed because of the invasion of the demon world. The current Ling Xiao Mountain was full of ruins. One could vaguely see its former glory. Although it stretched for hundreds of thousands of miles, it was shrouded in chaotic aura and great Tao. Even time and space were in disorder. Ordinary people would not dare to enter at all. However, many experts had come to Ling Xiao Mountain during this period of time. The 12 immortal sacred grounds and several great emperor clans have sent experts here. Could it be that some treasure has appeared in Ling Xiao Mountain? Someone asked in shock. They saw that the saints of the 12 immortal sacred grounds had personally come to Ling Xiao Mountain. Moreover, they each occupied a mountain as if they were waiting for something. You guys don't know about this, right? I heard that the Fane of Destiny's sect master personally made a move and deduced that the passage to the chaotic ancient land is in Ling Xiao Mountain. After Ling Xiao leaves the chaotic ancient land, he will definitely appear here. Is it the Ling Xiao who obtained the wordless heavenly book and became the chosen one? Ling Xiao Mountain. Could this be heaven's will? How could it be such a coincidence? Isn't that so? As the saying goes, a man's wealth is his own ruin. I'm afraid that Ling Xiao is in danger. Don't think that the saints of the various sacred grounds and great emperor clans have come here. This is only the forces on the surface. They have secretly sent out countless experts. This place has become a place of trouble. A storm is brewing. A war is about to break out. What a pity. Although Ling Xiao is from the War God Temple, the War God Temple can't even protect themselves now. I'm afraid they can't save him. When the crowd saw the experts enter Ling Xiao Mountain one after another, they began to discuss in low voices. Their eyes were filled with sympathy. On a lone peak, Jin Sei's red dress fluttered in the wind. She crossed her arms in front of her chest as she gazed at the sea of clouds in the distance. Although her expression was extremely cold, a sliver of worry flashed through her eyes. Junior sister Jin Sei, I'm back. A stream of light flickered and Feng Qingyang appeared behind Jin Sei. He sighed softly and said, "What did Master say?" Jin Sei lowered her hands, but did not turn around. Only her indifferent voice could be heard, sounding incomparably cold. Junior sister, Mother has agreed. As an ally of the War God Temple, she will lend a hand if Ling Xiao really encounters danger that he can't resist. Feng Qingyang nodded his head, but he hesitated to say something. Senior brother, what else do you want to say? Jin Sei turned around and said calmly, Junior sister, you should know that this time, Ling Xiao is most likely going to die. Not to mention that there are many people in the human race who want to deal with him. Who knows how many experts from other worlds are hiding in the dark? I'm afraid that the ones who are attacking this time are at least saint-level experts. Feng Qingyang said slowly, I understand. But he can't die, I have to save him. Jin Sei said calmly, but there was an unquestionable determination in her voice. Feng Qingyang nodded, and did not say anything else. Jin Sei stood on the lonely peak, her clothes fluttering in the wind. Her red dress was like a flame. She looked into the distance, deep and indifferent, but there were traces of sparkling light flickering in her eyes. She seemed to feel that the face in her memory was becoming more and more real. On the other mountain was the territory of the Samsara Temple. Saintess, are you really going to marry the son of the sect master? Is it worth it for Ling Xiao? Shuiwei was dressed in a white dress, looking pure and holy. She had an otherworldly temperament, like a snow lotus on a snowy mountain, which made people unable to bear to blaspheme her. Standing behind her was an old woman with a snake-headed walking stick. She had a head full of silver hair and a face full of wrinkles. Her body emitted a cold aura, but at this moment, her eyes were filled with concern and worry as she looked at Shuiwei. Granny, you don't understand. I can give up everything for him. As long as the sect master can save him, even if I have to marry the son of the sect master, I will accept it. Shuiwei's lips curled into a smile, looking pure and beautiful. Her eyes were as bright as the stars in the sky. What a silly girl. The old woman shook her head and let out a long sigh. On the peak of the War God Hall, there was a figure in white sitting cross-legged. He was shrouded in a dazzling light, surrounded by mist, and exuded an extremely powerful aura. He was the only one from the War God Hall. The War God in white of the War God Hall, Lu Bai. Lu Bai actually came to the Ling Xiao Mountain personally. Looks like he really values this Ling Xiao a lot. An elder from the 9-layer Imperial Obelisk sneered. What can Lu Bai do on his own? The current War God Hall is no longer the War God Hall of the past. They can't even protect themselves. If they still want to protect Ling Xiao, then the War God Hall will be completely destroyed. Elder Huang Tai of the 9 Imperial Gates also arrived and said coldly. The 9 Imperial Gates was originally the War God Hall's ally, but they were also the first to retaliate. They were even more brutal than the 5 Elements Celestial Sect and the Spacetime Heavenly Sect. No one knew how many princes of the War God Hall had died in their hands. After seeing Lu Bai, although they were a little surprised, they were not worried at all. Other than the 9 imperial gates, the chaotic heavenly sect, the destiny shrine, the myriad Buddha temple, the samsara shrine, the darkness heavenly sect, and the other immortal sanctuaries had all arrived. There were also the Chinese, the Golden Sovereign Tribe, and a few other sovereign tribes. The experts of the various forces had different expressions as they looked at Lu Bai coldly. Lu Bai closed his eyes and sat cross-legged on the peak, as if he had forgotten everything around him. He emitted a powerful Taoist rhyme, causing the flowers to bloom and wither, and the plants to wither. It was extremely mysterious. In the void above where no one could see, Yi Liangchen was following behind a sloppy-looking old Taoist. He kept urging him, "Old man, no matter what, you must save Ling Xiao this time. He's my big brother. If you don't save him, I won't let you off." Yi Liangchen said to the old Taoist, "Bastard, how dare you talk to your master like that? I've told you that Ling Xiao stirred up a hornet's nest. He's now a rare commodity worth hoarding. No one wants to let him go. How do you want me to save him?" The old Taoist was so angry that he glared at Yi Liangchen and said helplessly, "I don't care. Old man, you've said it yourself. Your cultivation is so high that sage kings, imperial emperors, and even the supreme emperors can't live as long as you. I'm sure it's easy for you to save Ling Xiao. If you don't save him, I'll kill myself." Yi Liangchen sneered and said shamelessly, "You bastard, you're really a bastard. Let me think about it. You only know how to cause trouble for me." The old Taoist said angrily and helplessly. He could not do anything to Yi Liangchen. Chapter 23-27. The attention of the entire divine world was focused on the Ling Xiao mountain. Many experts rushed to the Ling Xiao mountain one after another. They all had different thoughts as they waited for Ling Xiao to appear. Ling Xiao had become the chosen one, and was in possession of the wordless heavenly book, a chaos supreme treasure. Some people coveted the wordless heavenly book in his possession, some wanted to kill this chosen one, and some even wanted to replace him. Heaven's chosen one. These 4 words had an irresistible temptation to everyone. After becoming the chosen one, and receiving the blessing of the heavenly way, not only would Ling Xiao's cultivation improve by leaps and bounds, but he would also have the opportunity to see the supreme God realm. He would be able to suppress the heavens, sweep across the invincible realm, and lead the human tribe to a new era. What kind of glory would that be? Such temptation was enough to drive countless people crazy. More and more people came to the Ling Xiao mountain. It was once a forbidden area, and only saints could step foot in it. Many people had died there, but there were still more people coming to the Ling Xiao mountain. Even though most of them believed that Ling Xiao would not be able to escape this time, they still wanted to see Ling Xiao's glory. Rumble. The Ling Xiao mountain seemed to have some kind of reaction. Blazing lightning gathered in the sky, and thick lightning intertwined like mountains, emitting an aura that made people's hearts tremble. Dark clouds covered the sky, and the lightning was mighty. Under the ravaging of the thunderbolts, the chaotic laws here became even more chaotic. Dazzling runes rose and intertwined in the void, vaguely forming an austere domain. Is the passageway to the chaotic ancient land about to open? Someone cried out in surprise. Everyone in the soaring sky mountain range raised their heads at the same time. Roar. Above the 9 heavens, there seemed to be an ancient and primitive dragon roar. The lightning that filled the sky exploded at this moment, forming a huge golden dragon that was hundreds of millions of feet long. It had 9 dragon claws, golden dragon scales all over its body, and a pair of eyes that were as dazzling as the divine sun. Its body emitted a vast dragon power. As the dragon's roar resounded through the sky, the space above the golden dragon rumbled, and erupted with a vast amount of chaotic light. It was like the gates of heaven had opened, revealing all sorts of mysterious and unfathomable scenes. Immortal flowers of the great Tao emerged from the gate of heaven, exuding a soothing fragrance. Golden lotus flowers bloomed in the air, and a vast and endless sea seemed to appear in the distance. A bright and flawless full moon hung in the sky, surrounded by a mysterious light and fog. 9 resplendent suns instantly illuminated the land of the west. Flowers rained from the sky, Golden lotuses sprouted from the earth, the bright moon emerged from the sea, and the 9 suns shone from the heavens. For mysterious phenomena appeared at the same time. That ancient and mysterious aura caused everyone to tremble. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. This kind of vision only appears when the great emperor is preaching and enlightening the masses. How could it appear here? A white-haired old sage exclaimed in shock as his entire body trembled. Could it be that Ling Xiao became an emperor in the primal chaos ancient land? This is simply impossible. Becoming an emperor? What a joke! Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the sage-to-be level. Even if he obtained the fortune and became the chosen one, it would be amazing if he could become a saint. Then how can this vision be explained? Perhaps it's caused by the imprint of a great emperor in the primal chaos ancient land? Everyone was amazed by the vision in the sky. They were extremely shocked and puzzled. This vision was too shocking. Although the golden dragon was formed by the law of lightning, it contained an incomparably pure dragon's might. Coupled with the 4 mysterious visions, it was difficult to imagine what was going on even if the great emperor of ancient times was here. Bang! 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 The sound of footsteps rang out with a strange rhythm. Almost instantly, everyone quieted down. The sound was clearly transmitted into their ears. The footsteps seemed to have some kind of magical power, causing the blood and qi in their bodies to surge and boil with the sound of the footsteps. Only the sages could barely suppress the blood and qi in their bodies. Experts below the sage realm could do nothing about it. When the blood and qi in their bodies boiled to the extreme, and was about to explode, the vault of heaven suddenly exploded. Rumble! Endless dazzling light gushed out from the vast gate of heaven. Chaotic mist curled up as heaven and earth shook. A figure stepped out from the gate of heaven, and appeared in front of everyone. In an instant, a dragon's roar shook the heavens. Divine light bloomed, runes rose, and the law of great Tao trembled at the same time as if welcoming their emperor. The vision between heaven and earth reached its peak in an instant. It's Ling Xiao! Someone shouted. Everyone's eyes fell on the figure at the same time. In the chaotic mist, Ling Xiao wore a white robe. His figure was slender and handsome, and his body emitted immortal light. Faintly, there seemed to be runes gathering and emitting immortal light. His face looked very calm, and there was a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. Especially his eyes, they were clear, deep, experienced, and wise, as if they contained a vast starry sky, and people couldn't help but be attracted to them. Ling Xiao exuded an ethereal and otherworldly temperament. Although no one could see his cultivation, no one dared to underestimate him at this moment. The heaven's chosen one was born. It's him. Jin Sei's eyes flashed and even her eyes brightened. Young master, Shuiwei murmured. Her body trembled slightly, and her eyes were filled with both excitement and worry. Ling Xiao's appearance immediately tugged at the heartstrings of countless people, and everyone's attention fell on him at this moment. You were all waiting for me? I never thought that I, Ling Xiao, would have such great prestige. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His gaze swept across the people in the Ling Xiao mountain range, and his voice was extremely calm. Everyone fell silent in an instant. It was as if Ling Xiao's appearance was too shocking, and too much attention was paid to him. They were all stunned by Ling Xiao's peerless demeanor, and for a moment, they forgot to speak. Ling Xiao, do you know your crime? At this moment, a cold voice rang out in the void. 2 incomparably powerful figures instantly stood out, and a vast saint aura rose, instantly locking onto Ling Xiao. One of them was an old man with white hair and a ruddy face. He was the supreme elder of the 9 imperial obelisk, Huang Tai. The other was a middle-aged man in a purple robe. His expression was dignified without being angry, and he exuded an extremely powerful aura. He stood in the void, as if he was holding up the heavens and earth. His body contained an extremely violent energy. Chapter 23-28. The 9 Heavenly Kings of the Chinese Wuxia. Someone exclaimed as he recognized the purple-robed middle-aged man. There were a total of 9 heavenly kings under the patriarch of the Chinese. They were in charge of the war against the outside world. Every one of them was powerful, and the weakest of them was a saint. Their strength was unfathomable, and their hands were stained with the blood of countless creatures. The 9 heavenly kings of the Chinese were even more famous than the patriarch of the Chinese. They were peerless, ferocious people who could stop children from crying at night. It was said that 1,000,000 years ago, the 9 heavenly kings had made great contributions in the war. They had devoured the blood essence of many Pangu experts, making their cultivation even more unfathomable. Everyone showed a hint of fear in their eyes. The Chinese had even sent out the 9 heavenly kings. Since the 9 heavenly kings had already appeared, the other 8 heavenly kings must have arrived as well. The Chinese were really determined to get Ling Xiao this time. The gazes of the other immortal Holy Lands experts changed as they chose to continue watching. The Chinese and the 9 imperial gates hated Ling Xiao the most. With them as the vanguard, they could see Ling Xiao's strength. Speaking of which, they were extremely afraid of the Chosen One. The Chinese and the 9 imperial gates have joined forces? It seems like Ling Xiao has really angered them by killing Hua Ziyang and Tianzi. Someone said softly, his eyes full of emotion. Hua Ziyang and Tianzi were peerless sky prides, especially Tianzi, who was the son of the Heaven Emperor. Everyone thought that he was the most likely person to become the Chosen One. However, they did not expect Tianzi to die in Ling Xiao's hands. When the news spread to the divine world, it shocked the entire divine world. One could imagine how angry the 9 imperial gates would be. Ling Xiao didn't just kill Hua Ziyang and Tianzi. He also killed many saint sons and sky prides from other saint lands. Those guys are really patient. Let's wait and see. I really want to see how different Ling Xiao is from the Chosen One. Can he deal with today's crisis? Everyone discussed softly, observing Ling Xiao's reaction. Sin. What sin have I committed? Who are you? Ling Xiao glanced at Huaqiu indifferently. His expression was still calm, without the slightest hint of anger. Ling Xiao, this is the 9 heavenly kings of the Chinese, Lord Huaqiu. You're about to die and you still don't know how to repent? Today, I will tell you what crime you have committed. Huang Tai sneered. His eyes were sharp and filled with murderous intent as he glared at Ling Xiao. You have committed 4 major sins. The Son of Heaven is the son of the Celestial Emperor, and the hope of the human race. Without the Celestial Emperor, there would be no era of the human race, no prosperity of the human race. However, you disregarded His Majesty the Heavenly Emperor, and used despicable means to kill His Highness the Heavenly Emperor. You have committed a grave sin. You are a human, but you colluded with the Devil Clan, the Monster Clan, and other alien clans. You killed so many heavenly talents of the human clan. They were the future hope of the human clan. You killed them. You destroyed the foundation of the human clan. That is the second sin. You possess the wordless heavenly scripture, a supreme treasure of the chaos, but for your own selfish interests, you want to forcibly take it for yourself. Instead of thinking about how to fight against the devil race, you repeatedly rely on this treasure to bully your own kind. If you had imparted the myriad heaven's secret arts in the wordless heavenly book to the human race, would we have been bullied by the devil race? You're selfish and you're guilty of one more crime. That's 3 crimes. We once sent people to the lower realm to look for the wordless heavenly book. We wanted to bring you to the divine realm and train you carefully. However, in order to monopolize the wordless heavenly book, you killed all the people we sent to the lower realm, and entered the divine realm under an assumed name. You stirred up a storm and plotted against the human clan. I think you have already surrendered to the devil race, and become a remnant of the devil race. You deserve to die. That is the 4th sin. Ling Xiao, you are unpardonable for these 4 sins. Everyone has the right to punish you. Why aren't you kneeling down and admitting your guilt? Huang Tai's voice resounded throughout the entire Ling Xiao mountain range. Every word was sonorous and filled with righteousness. It was as if a saint was reprimanding an evil demon. Huang Tai's words almost described Ling Xiao as an unpardonable person. There was a strange rhythm in his voice that made everyone tremble. They looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of hatred. For sins? TSK. Elder Huang Tai, I didn't expect you to use the law of obedience. Even I almost believed that I am an unpardonable person. Ling Xiao said as he looked at Elder Huang Tai with a faint smile. Ling Zhao's voice resonated with the laws of the great Tao in the surroundings, breaking Huang Tai's law of obedience in an instant. Everyone's eyes regained their clarity. The law of obedience was a saint's ability to control the great Tao law. Therefore, Huang Tai's words affected almost all the experts below the saint realm. However, he did not expect Ling Xiao to resolve it so easily. Ling Xiao, since you know that you are unpardonable, why don't you kneel down and accept your death? A despicable and shameless person like you doesn't deserve to be the heaven's chosen child. Huang Tai scolded sternly. Whether I deserve to be the heaven's chosen child or not, do I need you to bark here? Cut the crap. Old dog, if you want to kill me, just do it. Why do you have to find such a high-sounding excuse? You are too hypocritical. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He was not angered by Huang Tai's accusation. His expression was still calm. Although Ling Xiao was talking to Huang Tai, he had already quickly scanned through everyone in the Ling Xiao mountain range. Almost all the saints and great saints from the various immortal saint lands and monarch clans had come. However, there were no saint kings. Ling Xiao faintly felt that there was an extremely dangerous aura in the surrounding void. He was afraid that those high and mighty saint kings would not be able to sit still this time. At this moment, they were all hiding in the void, ready to launch a thunderous attack at any time. Ling Xiao looked relaxed on the surface, but he was secretly on guard, looking for an opportunity to escape. He knew that if he wanted to escape, he would have to go through a fierce battle. How dare you? Ling Xiao, how dare you disrespect Elder Huang Tai? Do you really think that Elder Huang Tai won't dare to kill you? An arrogant young man in a green robe sneered beside Huang Tai. His expression was incomparably arrogant, as if he was high and mighty. He was Huang Tai's disciple. Although he did not participate in the Heaven's Chosen Convention, he had already reached the half-saint realm. He was quite famous in the 9 imperial gates. Noisy, Ling Xiao frowned. His sharp eyes glanced at the green-robed young man, and snorted coldly. Rumble. Ling Xiao's voice seemed to contain a mysterious power. In an instant, the surrounding Zhou Tian rumbled. Invisible and intangible great Tao laws exploded like a sudden clap of thunder, enveloping the green-robed young man with a loud rumble. Not good. Huang Tai's expression changed. His saint aura rose around him as he struck out a palm. He wanted to disperse the great Tao laws around him, and save the green-robed young man. He could feel the terror of the great Tao laws. It was not something that the green-robed young man could withstand. Puff. However, the void suddenly shook as Huang Tai's palm hit nothing but air. The chaotic laws of the great Tao instantly engulfed the green-robed young man's entire body, causing him to reveal a look of disbelief and horror. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but before he could say anything, his entire body exploded. Blood mist filled the air as the void shook. Chapter 23-29. No one had expected Ling Xiao to attack in such a domineering manner. The group of experts surrounded Ling Xiao, overflowing with murderous intent. The young man was Huang Tai's true disciple, but he was killed by Ling Xiao just like that. Everyone was shocked by Ling Xiao's terrifying strength and his audacity. Was he really not afraid of the 9 imperial gates and the Chinese? Ling Xiao, you're courting death. Huang Tai's face instantly darkened, his eyes filled with cold, murderous intent. The young man in green was his true disciple with amazing talent. He had a chance to become a saint after a few years of training, but he died in Ling Xiao's hands just like that. Huang Tai didn't even have the chance to save him. Boom. Purple thunderbolts rose around Huang Tai's body as his saint's aura spread out, emitting an extremely dangerous aura. It instantly locked onto Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao killed the young man in green with a single sentence, which made Huang Tai both shocked and furious. He vaguely guessed that Ling Xiao had already become a saint. He knew his mission, and the 9 heavenly kings beside him also did the same. They were all here to test Ling Xiao's true cultivation and combat strength. As for how to deal with Ling Xiao, those big shots would take care of it. He knew that even if Ling Xiao's combat strength was extraordinary, if he couldn't defeat him, he would definitely be able to capture Ling Xiao with the help of the 9 heavens king. Huang Tai, you once forced me to do something in the War God Temple. How domineering and majestic was that? Today, I'll take your life as the price for what you did back then. Ling Xiao said indifferently, his eyes revealing a trace of blazing light. Boom. He threw a punch at Huang Tai, taking the initiative to attack. Ling Xiao threw a punch, and the void seemed to explode. Blazing divine light surged, and the surrounding great Tao shook at the same time, pressuring Huang Tai at the same time. Ling Xiao, so what if you've become a saint? No one can save you today. Huang Tai roared, and the aura around him rose to the extreme. The sky full of thunderbolts gathered in his palm, instantly turning into a huge thunderbolt palm print, pressing down on Ling Xiao. Huang Tai had already cultivated the Thunder Emperor technique to the consummate level. A world of lightning emerged from the center of his palm. Vaguely, even the true body of the Thunder Emperor appeared in the sky, containing an incomparably overbearing killing intent. Crack! The void trembled violently. Ling Xiao's fist came from the sky and collided with the lightning in the sky in an instant. The lightning that filled the sky suddenly exploded into a resplendent rain of light. It was actually unable to withstand the power of Ling Xiao's punch. The surrounding sky shook violently, and the purple palm print was also shattered by Ling Xiao's punch. What? Huang Tai's body trembled. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He felt a force that made his scalp tingle. His strength was so weak in front of Ling Xiao's punch. Bang! One of Huang Tai's arms exploded into a bloody mist in the void. He staggered back and spat out a mouthful of blood. The divine shield around him shattered in an instant. Ling Xiao defeated Elder Huang Tai with a single punch? How is this possible? Everyone was shocked as well. All of them were tongue-tied, unable to believe what they were seeing. Huang Tai was the supreme elder of the 9-layered imperial obelisk. Although his talent was ordinary, he was already an expert in the great perfection of the saint realm. They did not expect Huang Tai to be so weak in front of Ling Xiao. Could it be that Ling Xiao has already proven his Tao and become a saint? But even if he has proven his Tao and become a saint, how can he have such terrifying combat strength? Is the chosen one so heaven-defying? Everyone's heart was filled with doubts. Old dog, I'll send you on your way. Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely sharp. He punched out like a dragon, causing his flesh and blood to tremble slightly. He released strands of powerful chaotic energy, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. It was as if the space was unable to withstand this power, causing cracks to appear in space. Ling Xiao's body was filled with boundless energy. After his physical body became a saint, he felt that the restraints of heaven and earth on him had disappeared. His punch could penetrate the 9 heavens and shatter the 10 lands. Its power was unparalleled. Ninth Heavenly King, save me. Huang Tai's eyes were filled with terror. He unleashed his strongest power to resist the attack, and even took out a powerful saint treasure. At the same time, he begged Huaqiu for help. His scalp was numb, and his body was trembling. Ling Xiao's punch made him feel the threat of death. He was so scared that his soul almost left his body. At this moment, he no longer cared about his dignity as a saint. He only wanted to live. Ling Xiao's punch was too terrifying. Ling Xiao, don't be presumptuous. A cold light flashed in Huaqiu's eyes. In an instant, he leaped into the sky. Divine light blazed around him, and an immortal fluctuation filled the air. It was as if nothing could invade him. He threw a punch at Ling Xiao. The fist print swept across the void like a dazzling sun. It was mighty and could suppress everything. This was the immortal fist technique of the Hua tribe. Huaqiu also saw that Ling Xiao's strength was strange, so he did not hold back at all. Huang Tai took out a cauldron-shaped treasure that emitted a powerful light. It was Huang Tai's natal treasure that he had refined with his blood. At this moment, he was forced to take it out without hesitation because he was forced to the extreme by Ling Xiao. Boom! Ling Xiao's punch landed on the cauldron-shaped treasure, and there was a muffled sound. Rays of light and runes were annihilated at the same time. The cauldron-shaped treasure seemed to have withstood some kind of incomparably terrifying force. Cracks appeared on it, and then it exploded. With his natal artifact destroyed, Huang Tai also suffered a great backlash. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura was weak. His eyes were filled with shock and anger. It seemed like he was about to die under Ling Xiao's punch. Huaqiu from the 9th heavens charged over. Bang! The two fists collided, and the void rumbled. The vast chaotic light suddenly exploded, and an incomparably terrifying wave swept out in all directions. Ling Zhao's body did not move, but Huaqiu was sent flying by Ling Zhao's punch. How can your physical body be so strong? You're a saint with a physical body. Huaqiu's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. His arm was trembling violently. On the surface it looked fine, but in fact, the power of Ling Zhao's punch had already entered his arm. It was extremely domineering and destroyed the blood vessels and meridians on his arm. He could no longer lift his arm. Huaqiu's blood and qi surged as if it was about to burn. The immortal fist technique was so weak in front of Ling Zhao's punch. Chapter 2330. Sanctification of the Physical Body. These 4 words seem to have some kind of magical power, causing everyone in the Ling Shao mountain range to tremble. Everyone's eyes fell on Ling Shao at the same time. Sanctification of the physical body? How many years has it been since someone sanctified their physical body? This is the most difficult path, but Ling Shao actually did it? An old sage said, his body trembling. His turbid eyes were filled with excitement. I remember now. When Ling Shao appeared, there was a strange phenomenon in the sky. That was the legendary phenomenon of sanctification of the physical body. Sanctification of the physical body is when one's physical body breaks through the limits of heaven and earth, breaking the shackles of the great Tao, and forming a small world of its own. Once it breaks through, it will definitely cause a shocking phenomenon. This is sanctification of the physical body. The human race's physical body is already weak. This path is too difficult. If Ling Shao really sanctified his physical body, his talent is indeed heaven-defying. He is worthy of being the chosen one. Although sanctification of the physical body is difficult, his combat strength is extraordinary. He is invincible in the same realm. Although Elder Huangtai and the 9 heavenly kings are at the sage realm great perfection, I'm afraid they are no match for Ling Shao. Everyone discussed softly. This news was too shocking. They felt as though they had seen a living legend. Sanctification of the physical body represented infinite possibilities. The 9 heavenly kings of the Chinese race? That's all there is to it. Ling Shao smiled faintly, his expression extremely calm. Whoosh. He did not stop. Light flashed under his feet, and his entire body was like an invisible bolt of lightning. He appeared behind Huaqiu in an instant, and threw a punch at Huaqiu. After becoming a saint, Ling Zhao's understanding of the secret skills in the wordless heavenly book had reached a new level. For example, he had cultivated the secret skill of teleportation to the great perfection realm. He could teleport as he wished. Although he had not reached the level of teleportation, he could still teleport within a macro world. Huaqiu did not expect Ling Zhao's speed to be so strange. When he felt the danger, Ling Zhao's punch was already very close to him. Long Outyin, how dare you challenge the dignity of the Chinese race? You must die. Huaqiu's eyes were filled with killing intent. His entire body exploded in the void, turning into a dazzling rain of light. He dodged Ling Zhao's fatal punch, and then reformed at the side. Whoosh! A golden battle spear appeared in Huaqiu's hand, exuding an ancient aura. The tip of the spear was extremely sharp, as if it could pierce through everything. He held the spear horizontally in his palm, and pierced towards Ling Shao. Clang! Ling Zhao's palm landed on the golden spear. The golden spear emitted a crisp sound. Sparks flew in all directions, but it didn't shatter. Ling Zhao's kick seemed to be able to crush a mountain. It contained an incomparably violent energy fluctuation. Huaqiu hurriedly raised his golden battle spear to block. With a muffled sound, the golden spear actually bent. Unparalleled divine power erupted. Huaqiu's arms began to tremble. The blood vessels on his arms directly exploded. Blood mist filled the air. His whole body seemed to have been struck by lightning. Blood spurted out from his mouth. Ling Shao, on the other hand, borrowed the recoil force of the golden battle spear and charged towards Huangtai. Although Huaqiu and Huangtai had joined forces, they had no chance to resist Ling Zhao's terrifying combat strength. They were suppressed and in danger. They could lose their lives at any time. Ling Shao, how dare you? Huang Tai was scared out of his wits. His eyes were filled with a fierce look. Even his origin artifact had been destroyed by Ling Xiao, so he knew that he was no match for Ling Xiao. Now that he was heavily injured, there was no way for him to resist. Thus, he shouted loudly and fled into the distance without even thinking. Why wouldn't I dare? You can come and kill me, but I'm not allowed to kill you? What a joke. Ling Xiao sneered. He pointed his finger in the air and pierced towards Huang Tai's glabella. The sharp finger radiance could penetrate everything. It was extremely terrifying. Stop. At this moment, an ancient and cold voice came from behind Ling Xiao. The sound of the air breaking was extremely fast. A huge palm print fell from the sky and slammed towards his head. It contained an unfathomable sage aura. It was a great sage who had attacked. The great sage's attack was extremely fierce. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao as soon as he attacked. Although he was trying to save Huang Tai, he obviously had sinister intentions. Freeze! Ling Xiao looked indifferent, as if he wasn't surprised at all. He didn't even turn his head. He just spat out a simple word from his mouth. Buzz! Rays of dazzling light gathered behind Ling Xiao, forming an ancient rune that contained a mysterious aura of vicissitudes. It was as if the great Tao law in the surroundings was vibrating at the same time. The rune was dazzling. In an instant, it collided with the huge palm print. The vast power of time erupted and froze the palm print in the void. Although the palm print was only frozen for a breath's time, it was enough to do a lot of things. Puff. Blood splattered. Huang Tai's glabella was pierced by Ling Xiao's finger. The terrifying power exploded in Huang Tai's head and spread throughout his body at the same time. Huang Tai turned into a bloody mist. Even his primordial spirit couldn't escape. It was shattered by Ling Xiao's finger. The majestic primordial spirit fragments were completely devoured by Ling Xiao using the sky-devouring secret skill. The Grand Elder of the Ninefold Imperial Obelisk died in Ling Xiao's hands. Boom! The rune behind him shattered. The mighty palm print pressed down. Ling Xiao turned around calmly and threw out a punch, colliding with the palm print. Divine light exploded, and heaven and earth shook. The palm print was directly shattered by Ling Xiao. And Ling Xiao was also sent flying, landing far away. Who are you? Ling Xiao stared at the figure that appeared in the void, and said coldly. It was a middle-aged man in a black python robe. He looked dignified and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. At this moment his expression was extremely ugly as he stared at Ling Xiao. The saint aura around him was vast and unfathomable. He was even stronger than Huang Tai and Wuxia. He was an expert of the great saint realm. You dare to kill Huang Tai? Ling Xiao, the emperor wanted to spare your life. Now it seems like you really deserve to die. The middle-aged man in the python robe said coldly. His voice was like thunder, domineering and majestic. The Eastern Sky Sage of the Nine Imperial Obelisk? Hiss, I didn't expect him to come out to kill Ling Xiao. Someone exclaimed. His eyes were filled with reverence. Chapter 2331. The Eastern Heaven Great Sage stepped on the void, exuding a vast sage aura, causing the surrounding void to tremble slightly. A mysterious light lingered around him, making the black python on his body seem to come alive, exuding a peerless ferocious aura. His gaze was incomparably cold, filled with undisguised murderous intent. It landed on Ling Xiao as if he wanted to cut Ling Xiao into 1,000 pieces. He was the strongest person sent by the Ninefold Imperial Obelisk. He had been watching the battle between Huang Tai, Wuxia, and Ling Xiao. Seeing that Ling Xiao's combat strength was invincible, and that Huang Tai and Wuxia had no power to resist, he knew something was wrong. He wanted to stop Ling Xiao, but it was too late. The fact that Huang Tai died right in front of him was a great humiliation to him. The Eastern Heaven Great Sage of the Ninefold Imperial Obelisk? You're really impressive. Ling Xiao sneered. The surrounding people's discussion also let him know the identity of the middle-aged man in the python robe in front of him. The Eastern Heaven Great Sage's angry attack just now contained an earth-shattering power. Ling Xiao hastily faced the attack, but he was unexpectedly sent flying, which aroused a strong fighting spirit in his heart. Ling Xiao's sage body gave him invincible combat strength. Even Huang Tai, who was in the sage realm great perfection, was killed by Ling Xiao in one blow. Now, facing the stronger Eastern Heaven great sage, Ling Xiao was even more fearless. Ling Xiao, how dare you hurt my ninth brother? Who gave you such courage? At the same time, an extremely overbearing voice resounded in the void, causing the surrounding sky to tremble. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 7 incomparably powerful figures came across the sky, containing an earth-shattering aura, as if they could devour the sun and the moon. Each of them exuded an extremely cold aura, appearing in the sky above the Ling Xiao mountain range. Second brother, third brother, eighth brother, you're here? Huaqiu's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. The 7 heavenly kings of the Hua clan. Yes. Except for the great heavenly king, 8 of the 9 heavenly kings came? It seems that the Hua clan is really determined to get Ling Xiao. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were filled with incomparable reverence. Those 7 figures were the 7 heavenly kings of the Hua clan. Moreover, each of them had a high cultivation base. All of them were great Saint Realm powerhouses. Their eyes were filled with killing intent, and their killing intent was monstrous. Ninth brother, you're too useless. You were actually injured to such an extent by a mere Ling Xiao? Scram to the side and watch how your brothers will skin him alive to avenge you. Among the 7 heavenly kings, the second heavenly king, who was the leader, wore a purple robe. His skin was fair and clean, and he looked extremely tall. However, he had an extremely feminine aura. His eyes were like a poisonous snake, which made people shudder when they looked at him. Second brother, this Ling Xiao cannot be underestimated. Not only is his fleshly body sanctified, but he also has the wordless heavenly book. Be careful. Huaqiu's face was a little ugly. He cupped his hands at the second heavenly king, and then went to the side to heal his wounds. He also breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. If it weren't for the East Heaven Great Sage and the 7 heavenly kings who came at the same time, he was afraid that he would end up like Huang Tai and die in the hands of Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao gave him too much pressure. That kind of domineering and invincible fist intent still made him feel palpitations when he thought about it. The 7 heavenly kings and the East Heaven Great Sage's eyes fell on Ling Xiao at the same time at this moment. Being stared at by 8 great saint powerhouses, that kind of cold and murderous gaze was like a mountain that contained the power to make people's heart tremble. If it was an ordinary person, his mind would have already collapsed from fear. Ling Xiao, how do you want to die? The second heavenly king stared at Ling Xiao and said indifferently, the 5 heavenly sages of the 9 imperial gates, the 9 heavenly kings of the Hua clan? Do you think you can defeat me with just a few of you? Ling Xiao sneered. His expression was incomparably calm, without the slightest fear. The calmer he was on the surface, the more intense the murderous intent in his heart was. Ling Xiao had already decided to kill here. He wanted to kill until the sky fell and the earth cracked. He wanted to kill until the blood flowed. He wanted to kill until the world changed. He understood how terrifying those people hiding in the dark were. Although the strength of these people in front of him was very strong, they were still only slightly stronger cannon fodder. If he couldn't even deal with these people in front of him, there was no need to talk about fighting with those people behind them. You have a sharp tongue. Ling Xiao, do you think that you can defeat everything just because your body is at the Sage Realm? The gap between the Sage Realm and the Great Sage Realm isn't something you can understand at all. Today you are the enemy of the whole world. You have become the enemy of our human clan. No one can save you. Do you think you can escape with your own strength? You are really reckless. The East Heaven Great Sage sneered and said. The murderous intent in his eyes was blazing. He could feel Ling Xiao's strength. He said these words just to oppress people with his power and create psychological pressure on Ling Xiao. Then he would look for an opportunity to seek a fatal blow. Although he knew that Ling Xiao would undoubtedly die today, if he could capture Ling Xiao first, the 9 Imperial Obelisk might be able to monopolize Ling Xiao's secrets and good fortune. Although the 7 heavenly kings were standing together with him, once Ling Xiao was defeated, they would immediately turn against each other. The reason why those almighty experts hid behind the scenes and didn't personally take action was that they had to restrain each other. After all, They each had their own ulterior motives. Everyone coveted Ling Xiao's title as the Chosen One, and the wordless heavenly book, the most chaotic treasure. 8 great sages. Can young master stop them? Shui Wei's eyes revealed a trace of worry. Her white jade-like fingers also unconsciously clenched. 8 great sages. They should not be his opponents, right? Jean Sei whispered to herself. She didn't know why, but she was full of confidence in Ling Xiao. She felt that the 8 great sages in front of her might not be Ling Xiao's opponents. Ling Xiao's potential was endless. Perhaps only those peerless almighties hidden behind him could stimulate Ling Xiao's true combat strength. Everyone felt a little nervous. They couldn't help but stare at the 8 great sages and Ling Xiao. They felt that the atmosphere had become incomparably oppressive. A storm was coming. 8 great sages? Are they very strong? It's a pity that the 5 heavens great sages and the 9 heavenly kings are not all here. Otherwise I will kill them all. You brothers can also reunite in the underworld, right? All of you come together. Why should I, Ling Xiao, be afraid? Ling Xiao looked up to the sky and laughed. His whole body exuded a wild and unruly temperament. His eyes were full of arrogance and cold killing intent as he stared at the 8 great sages in front of him. Chapter 2332. Is this Ling Xiao crazy? He actually wants the 8 great sages to attack together? After hearing Ling Xiao's words, everyone couldn't help but be shocked. The 5 heavens great sage and the 9 heavenly kings are famous. If these 8 great sages attack together, I'm afraid they can even fight against the legendary Saint King. Ling Xiao is too arrogant. I think this Ling Xiao is too arrogant. He's simply courting death by provoking the 8 great sages. That's not necessarily true. Have you forgotten that he has the wordless heavenly book on him? Everyone discussed in a low voice. The 8 great sages couldn't help but have a cold look in their eyes. The murderous intent around them suddenly erupted. Ling Xiao's words were simply a provocation. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. Ling Xiao, I will break every bone in your body and grind your bones to ashes. The Eastern Heaven Great Sage's eyes were overflowing with murderous intent. His body exuded an incomparably powerful aura, and he took the lead to attack Ling Xiao. Boom! He struck out with his palm. Vast sage aura gathered, and a huge palm print appeared in the sky. It was like a mountain range that suddenly pressed down on Ling Xiao. Kill! It's fine if this Ling Xiao is courting death, but the wordless heavenly book on him can't fall into the hands of the 9 imperial gates. The second heavenly king's eyes were cold as he whispered to the few people around him. Rumble! The 7 of them also erupted with their strongest combat strength and attacked Ling Xiao at the same time. It had to be said that the combat strength of a great sage was far beyond that of a saint. Their control of the laws of heaven and earth had already reached a level where they could do as they pleased. The 7 heavenly kings all cultivated the great Tao of metal. They took out their golden spears and formed a powerful battle formation. The spear light swept across the void like golden dragons, and simultaneously attacked Ling Xiao's vital points. Moreover, the vast great Tao law erupted, and runes rose. Between the 7 golden spears, it seemed to form a mysterious small world. The flowers, trees, the sun, the moon, and the stars were all transformed by the great Tao of metal. They interweaved into an inescapable net. Roar! Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a monstrous battle intent. An ancient and terrifying dragon roar instantly erupted from his mouth. Ancestral Dragon's Roar. The supreme sound attack technique of the ancestral dragon's secret technique was derived from the first dragon roar of the primeval ancestral dragon when it split the world apart. It contained the vast energy of the laws from when the world was first created, and it struck directly at the soul with peerless might. When Ling Xiao had yet to become a sage, the roar of the ancestral dragon had already erupted with peerless divine power. Now that his physical body had become a sage, he used the roar of the ancestral dragon with the body of the ancestral dragon. The terrifying sound waves gushed directly towards the 8 great sages. Just the shock waves alone were enough to make the people in the Firmament Mountain range tremble and cough up blood. Their faces were extremely pale, and their eyes were filled with shock. Even the aftermath of the roar of the ancestral dragon caused some of the weaker half-saints to explode in the void. They were completely annihilated. This obviously showed how terrifying the pressure one would have to endure when facing the ancestral dragon's roar head-on. Boom. After Ling Xiao unleashed the roar of the ancestral dragon, the chaotic light gushed out from his body. His blood rose like a sea of blood, and a mysterious chanting sound came from his body. It was as if hundreds of millions of mysterious gods were worshipping him at the same time, erupting with the supreme power that could split the world apart. This was the first time Ling Xiao had unleashed his strongest power after his physical body had become a sage. He simply threw a punch towards the Eastern Sky Sage. The terrifying sound waves of the roar of the ancestral dragon exploded. The powerful spiritual power made the Eastern Sky Sage and the 7 heavenly kings tremble. They felt as if a primordial ancestral dragon was flying out from the chaos to devour their primordial spirits. Although they knew that this was only an illusion in the sound waves, and their souls were incomparably powerful and would not be damaged, they were still affected to a certain extent, and their movements became a little slower. Crack. But this slight delay was enough for Ling Xiao to reach the palm print in the void first. His simple punch blasted the palm print in the void, and then it was instantly smashed into powder. Ling Xiao came from the sky and used a secret teleportation technique. He quickly closed the distance between him and the Eastern Sky Sage, and directly blasted a punch towards the Eastern Sky Sage. After Ling Xiao's physical body was sanctified, he possessed invincible physical strength. Based on physical strength alone, not to mention a mere supreme sage, even a true sage ruler might not necessarily be as strong as Ling Xiao's physical body. The physical body had broken the shackles of heaven and earth, and formed a small world of its own. Every movement contained the power of heaven and earth. This was a power that truly belonged to oneself, and not borrowed from the power of heaven and earth. This was a qualitative difference. Get lost. The Eastern Sky Sage's face was gloomy. He pushed his palms across the sky, and blazing runes rose, turning into immemorial mountains one after another, constantly suppressing Ling Xiao. This was the power of the Great Way of Earth. The Eastern Sky Sage used the Great Way of Earth to change thousands of times at will. Those mountains were no different from real mountains, and contained extremely terrifying power. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Xiao's punch was like a dragon, and all the mountains formed by the Great Way of Earth exploded. Moreover, he rapidly closed the distance between him and the Eastern Sky Sage. The Eastern Sky Sage had already seen Ling Xiao's ice-cold eyes, which made his heart beat violently, and his face became incomparably unsightly. How can the physical body of a sage be so strong? The Eastern Sky Sage found it hard to imagine how Ling Xiao could have such terrifying battle strength. After all, it had been a long time since the divine world had a physical body of a sage. The Eastern Sky Sage had only seen it in ancient books, and had never really fought with a physical body of a sage. In this exchange, he immediately discovered the terror of Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, don't be arrogant. At the same time, the 7 heavenly kings also rushed towards Ling Xiao with golden battle spears in their hands. The spear light crisscrossed the heaven and earth, and emitted blazing golden light. It was like a smoke signal that pierced through the 9 heavens, and shrouded Ling Xiao in all directions. Clang! Ling Xiao blasted out a punch, and after it collided with the golden battle spear, the sound of metal clashing erupted. The spear light shattered, but it turned into an even more chaotic power, and rushed towards Ling Xiao's body. Bang! 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 Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast, and he constantly collided with the golden battle spear. However, even though his fist momentum was monstrous and his physical body was invincible, the golden battle spear was a top-grade holy treasure. In addition, the 7 heavenly kings' battle strength was superb, and there was a tendency to trap Ling Xiao to death. Kill! The Eastern Heaven Great Sage's eyes revealed a trace of ice-cold killing intention. He waved his sleeve, and thousands of mysterious yellow needles, which were as thin as the hair of an ox, flew out from his sleeve in an instant. It was unknown whether there were thousands or tens of thousands of these needles, and they covered Ling Xiao's entire body. Not good. Are those mysterious yellow needles? Shui Wei could not help but exclaim, and her face was slightly pale. The mysterious yellow needles were a set of top-grade holy treasures, which were refined from the mysterious yellow mother chi. Each strike could erupt with power comparable to that of a sage. However, the mysterious yellow needles were shapeless and intangible, and they were best at breaking people's acupoints and slashing people's primordial spirit. They were extremely insidious treasures, and they were well known in the divine world. Now that Ling Xiao was trapped by the golden battle spear, the space for him to dodge was extremely small, and the power of the mysterious yellow needles could be exerted to the extreme. Chapter 2333. The 7 golden spears were like pillars of heaven, sealing Ling Xiao's surroundings. They were intertwined with blazing golden light, and runes rose, forming a deadly domain. The 7 heavenly kings saw that Ling Xiao was elusive and had the extreme speed to move the heavens, so they directly laid down the strongest 7 killing spear formation, trapping Ling Xiao in the big formation. The Eastern Sky Sage was even more insidious. He directly took out a set of mysterious yellow needles, aiming directly at Ling Xiao's vital points. Under the joint efforts of the 8 great sages, they laid down an inescapable net, wanting to kill Ling Xiao completely. Boom! Ling Xiao's body suddenly erupted with a bright golden storm. His fist was like a dragon, blasting out tens of thousands of fist prints in an instant, shattering the surrounding spear light, sweeping out a vacuum domain. At the same time, a 7-colored glow shot out from Ling Xiao's eyes. It turned into a resplendent and vast light, shooting off in all directions with a boom. It was like a sun had exploded, containing the power of yin and yang and 5 elements, as if it could instantly decompose and destroy everything. 7-colored heavenly light. The supreme magical power formed by the fusion of the 5 elements and the yin and yang secret techniques shone brilliantly at this moment. Ding ding dang dang. When the invisible mysterious yellow needles flew to Ling Xiao's side, they collided with the 7-colored heavenly light in an instant, as if they were blocked by a layer of 5 elements barrier, bursting out a crisp sound. Without exception, they were all blocked by the 7-colored heavenly light. Boom! The 7-colored heavenly light surged like surging waves, as if heaven and earth were falling apart, enveloping the mysterious yellow needles. The power of yin and yang and 5 elements flowed, beginning to decompose the power of the mysterious yellow needles. The mysterious yellow needles trembled violently, and the runes began to collapse. The mysterious yellow needles were about to be decomposed into the most original mysterious yellow source chi. Damn it! The Eastern Sky Sage's face changed, and his expression was incomparably ugly. He wanted to take back all the mysterious yellow needles. Since you have taken them out, leave them all. Ling Xiao's cold voice rang out. In an instant, an extremely terrifying devouring power erupted around him. An ancient world vaguely appeared behind him. The universe was created, and the world was destroyed. It could devour everything. This was the sky-devouring sacred world. It was a scene that Ling Xiao had created after he cultivated the sky-devouring secret skill to perfection. As soon as the heaven-devouring secret technique was used, the rainbow-colored heavenly light seemed to have received some kind of blessing. Many of the universe needles that were enveloped in it were quickly disintegrated and turned into universe origin chi, which was directly swallowed by Ling Xiao. In the end, most of the mysterious yellow needles were swallowed by Ling Xiao. Only a small part was taken back by the Eastern Sky Great Sage, but it was also severely damaged. Bastard, I'll kill you. The murderous intent in the eyes of the Eastern Sky Great Sage seemed to have materialized. He roared at Ling Xiao, his heart bleeding. The mysterious yellow needle was one of the most important supreme holy treasures in his possession. It was even regarded as the foundation of his enlightenment. It was refined from the mysterious yellow mother chi that he obtained with great difficulty. He originally planned to refine it painstakingly for another 100 years. When his cultivation reached the peak of the great sage, he could directly refine the mysterious yellow mother chi and prove his Tao as a holy king. But now it was all taken advantage of by Ling Xiao. Rumble. Ling Xiao's body gushed out powerful life essence and blood chi. The mysterious yellow mother chi was the innate origin power, a supreme treasure. At this moment, after being refined by Ling Xiao, Ling Xiao's physical body began to expand again. Even his primordial spirit, dharma, and heart force had been greatly improved. His whole person seemed to have eaten a big tonic, and he was full of energy. Aha! Eastern Sky Great Sage, do you still have more mysterious yellow needles? Come, 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 I'll take all of them. Ling Xiao laughed and said. His words made the Eastern Sky Great Sage almost vomit blood. Boom! Ling Xiao used his words to provoke the Eastern Sky Great Sage. At the same time, he drove the 7-colored heavenly light toward the 7 golden spears. At the same time, he used the Supreme Fist Way. His superb physical strength broke out, and he wanted to shatter all the 7 golden spears. The expressions of the 7 heavenly kings changed. Seeing that even the Xianhuang needle had been destroyed by the 7-colored heavenly light, they also had a strong fear of the 7-colored heavenly light. The 7 golden battle spears exploded with blazing golden light, like 7 immemorial divine mountains, pressing down on Ling Xiao. At the same time, the 7 of them went straight up. Each of them broke out a terrifying aura, and each of their moves was aimed at Ling Xiao's vital points. Ling Xiao, go to hell! The Eastern Sky Great Sage was about to be driven mad by Ling Xiao. Under the combination of shock and anger, the cultivation of a great sage erupted with all his strength. Streaks of bright lightning rose up, making him look more and more majestic and mysterious. The black giant python on his body actually crossed the sky in an instant, filled with endless lightning, and attacked Ling Xiao. The black python was covered with ferocious scales. Its huge triangular head was like a mountain, and its eyes were cold and cruel. Its aura was terrifying to the extreme, and it made the Eastern Sky Great Sage's aura begin to soar. It's the Eastern Sky Great Sage's Blackwater mystical snake. This is the immemorial fierce beast that is connected to his life. It is said that it has now reached the Great Sage realm. Under the superposition of the two, the Eastern Sky Great Sage's battle strength is extremely terrifying. It seems that the Eastern Sky Great Sage is going to go all out. Someone recognized the origin of the black python. It was the fierce Blackwater mystical snake. Legend has it that in ancient times, it could fight with the Dragon Clan. The Eastern Sky Great Sage summoned the Blackwater mystical snake and merged with it. He had the Blackwater mystical snake's power to control wind and thunder, and also its superb defensive power. Boom! The 7-colored heavenly light was dazzling, and Ling Xiao's body burst with extraordinary physical strength, colliding with the 7 golden spears. Fist prints fell one after another, and in the end, the mountains formed by the 7 golden spears were all smashed. At the same time, the Eastern Sky Great Sage merged with the Blackwater mystical snake and attacked Ling Xiao. The huge snake tail swung in the air, and the void exploded as if it was going to shatter at any time. Its speed was extremely fast. Bang! Ling Xiao punched out and collided with the Blackwater mystical snake's tail. Suddenly, there was a muffled sound in the void, and he and the Blackwater mystical snake flew backward at the same time. Blackwater mystical snake? Today, I will skin you, you evil beast, and make you into snake soup. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed fiercely, and he rushed toward the Blackwater mystical snake. He felt that the Blackwater mystical snake's immemorial bloodline was extremely rich, and therefore had unparalleled physical strength and defensive power. Ling Xiao's extremely overbearing punch could not break the Blackwater mystical snake's defense. However, if he could devour the immemorial bloodline of the Blackwater mystical snake, perhaps his physical strength could be improved further. Roar! Chapter 2334. Boom! The Blackwater mystical snake was wrapped in the power of wind and thunder. It merged with the Eastern Sky Sage, and burst out a primitive and ancient power. It suddenly pounced on Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao could smell the strong smell of blood. Ling Xiao's expression didn't change, but his eyes grew sharper and sharper. He felt a great pressure from the Blackwater mystical snake, which made him want to fight even more. Boom! Ling Xiao punched out, and on his fist radiance, blazing lightning rose. In an instant, the void trembled violently, like a vast whirlpool of lightning that could devour everything. This was the secret skill of heaven's punishment, which contained the essence of the way of thunder, and the ultimate destructive power. Even though the Blackwater mystical snake could control wind and thunder, it was still greatly restrained by the secret skill of heaven's punishment. The lightning around the Blackwater mystical snake surged, and was swallowed by the whirlpool of lightning, merging into Ling Xiao's body. Bang! 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 Ling Xiao was extremely fast, and his fists seemed to be able to destroy heaven and earth. The sky was filled with the shadows of his fists, constantly colliding with the Blackwater mystical snake, exploding with blazing divine light waves. Ling Xiao had the ultimate physical strength. Now that his physical body was sanctified, he had the supreme power to fight against a supreme saint. The 12 sky skills in the wordless heavenly book was the foundation of Ling Xiao's sanctified physical body. It allowed Ling Xiao to control the supreme power of the 12 sky skills at will. The 7 heavenly kings also rushed forward, and together with the Blackwater mystical snake that the Eastern Sky Sage had transformed into, they started a peerless battle against Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao fought against the 8 of them alone. His fists were mighty, like ancient divine mountains, and like stars in the sky. Chaotic light rose. The void shook, the 5 elements flowed, and yin and yang intertwined. Ling Xiao seemed to be tireless, and the stronger his fighting spirit, the more terrifying his combat strength was. Even with 8 great sages joining forces, they were still unable to suppress Ling Xiao. How can this Ling Xiao be so strong? Even if his physical body is sanctified and he is invincible in the same realm, he can't cross a realm and go against the flow, right? Everyone looked at the scene in front of them with shock. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. According to the legends, the Lingxiao mountain range was the location of the ancient celestial court. It contained an incomparably chaotic power of law. The space was also incomparably firm. It was intertwined with a mysterious power that protected the Lingxiao mountain range. If not for this, given the terrifying battle between Ling Xiao and the 8 great saints, the entire Ling Xiao mountain range would have been reduced to dust long ago. Even though they were spectating the battle from the periphery, the terrifying energy fluctuations still shocked the spectators. They could not figure out how Ling Xiao could have such heaven-defying combat strength. Even if it were someone else, it would be impossible for them to have such heaven-defying battle prowess as Ling Xiao. It must be the heaven's chosen child that allowed him to obtain the fortune and blessing of the heavenly Tao, coupled with the supreme secret technique of the wordless heavenly scripture. That's why he is so monstrous. An old saint slowly said as if he had noticed something. A secret technique from the wordless heavenly book? Legend has it that the wordless heavenly book contains a complete set of 108 secret techniques. The 12 heavenly arts of the 12 immortal holy lands came from the wordless heavenly book. This Ling Xiao is truly lucky. Someone revealed a look of jealousy in his eyes. The wordless heavenly book was very famous in the divine world. 1,000,000 years ago, the wordless heavenly book almost caused a war between the divine world and the devil world. Naturally, everyone knew how mysterious and precious the wordless heavenly book was. Someone revealed a look of greed and passion in his eyes. He could not wait to kill Ling Xiao and snatch the wordless heavenly book away from him. Old man, brother Ling Xiao is so powerful. Even the great saints are no match for him. I told you that only he is worthy of being the heaven's chosen child. Yi Liangchen, who was hiding in the void, said excitedly to the slovenly old man beside him. Powerful? Although the great saints are powerful, they are only used to test him. The old monsters behind him are not people that he can fight against. The slovenly old man snorted coldly. What are you afraid of? Old man, aren't you here to deal with the old monsters behind him? As long as you stop those old monsters, brother Ling Xiao will be able to escape. Yi Liangchen said nonchalantly. You bastard! The slovenly old man clenched his teeth in anger when he saw Yi Liangchen's expression. He wanted to beat the crap out of him. If there were only 1 or 2 old monsters behind him, the old man might be able to stop them. However, who knew how many old monsters were there this time? Both the heaven's chosen child and the wordless heavenly book were enough to tempt those old monsters to the point that they were willing to pay any price. Boom! Ling Xiao's body emitted a dazzling rainbow divine light, which contained the power to destroy everything. Once again, he forced the 7 heavenly kings to retreat with the rainbow divine light. At the same time, he quickly approached the Blackwater mystical snake and punched the Blackwater mystical snake's neck. That was the Blackwater mystical snake's weak spot. It was also the softest part of its body. Roar! The Blackwater mystical snake roared angrily. The black snake scales on its body opened up instantly, emitting traces of blood-red light. It spun like a sharp blade, trying to suck Ling Xiao in and cut him into pieces. The Blackwater mystical snake's scales were extremely sturdy. There were ancient runes on them, which were comparable to supreme holy treasures. They could break everything. Even those who had achieved sainthood would find it difficult to withstand them. Facing the sky-covering snake scales that were as sharp as blades, Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he suddenly roared, "Freeze!" Boom! The space around them seemed to freeze at that moment. An ethereal power of time burst out and enveloped the Blackwater mystical snake in an instant. At the same time, the space around him vibrated and became grotesque. It was as if billions of Ling Xiao's shadows had appeared and attacked the Blackwater mystical snake at the same time. Secret space-time technique. Ling Xiao controlled both the power of time and space at the same time. It was a huge burden for him. However, because his body had achieved sainthood, he was able to unleash such terrifying power. His body wouldn't collapse immediately. Damn it! The Eastern Sky Sage's face was full of shock and anger. Although the Blackwater mystical snake had only been frozen for a breath's time, it was enough for Ling Xiao to throw out thousands of punches. The terrifying fist print landed on the Blackwater mystical snake's body and directly hit the vital part below the snake's neck. Even though the Blackwater mystical snake had a layer of sturdy scales on its neck, it still exploded into pieces. Blood splattered everywhere, and its huge triangular head was sent flying away. How terrifying was Ling Xiao's body! Chapter 2335. Hiss! The Blackwater mystical snake let out a miserable shriek. Even the Eastern Sky Sage spat out a mouthful of blood. His life was connected to the Blackwater mystical snakes. Naturally, he would bear the brunt of the Blackwater mystical snake's injury. However, the Blackwater mystical snake's vitality was extremely strong. Its triangular head turned in the void and was about to fly back. Buzz! Ling Xiao's glabella glowed. A bright beam of light shot out and exploded in the void. It turned into a huge devouring vortex and swallowed the Blackwater mystical snake's head. At the same time, Ling Xiao lunged forward and grabbed the headless body of the Blackwater mystical snake. Terrifying divine energy erupted from his body as he hugged the Blackwater mystical snake tightly. Then he began to devour the Blackwater mystical snake's essence and blood. Rumble! Blazing divine light gushed out of Ling Xiao's body, and the vast sky-devouring sacred domain appeared. After he used the sky-devouring secret technique, the Blackwater mystical snake's blood essence and life origin surged into Ling Xiao's body. The Eastern Sky Sage was scared out of his wits. His eyes were filled with terror. At this moment, he and the Blackwater mystical snake had become one. Ling Xiao was devouring the Blackwater mystical snake's essence and life essence, which made him feel the threat of death. "Save me!" the Eastern Sky Great Sage shouted. His voice contained an unconcealable panic and fear. "Kill!" The 7 heavenly kings' eyes flashed with killing intent. They all held their golden spears and charged toward Ling Xiao. However, what was extremely strange was that the void space around Ling Xiao instantly rippled like water. They could only watch as Ling Xiao appeared before them, but it was as if they were separated by an endless stretch of time and space. Whoosh! 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 The yellow sword spear, which contained a sharpness that could pierce through everything, pierced through the void. However, it seemed that there was no way for it to reach Ling Xiao. While Ling Xiao was devouring the Blackwater mystical snake, he used the great teleportation technique and turned into a series of afterimages that could not be seen with the naked eye. More than half of the Blackwater mystical snake's essence and life essence were devoured by Ling Xiao in an instant. If this continued, the Blackwater mystical snake and the Eastern Sky Sage would both die in Ling Xiao's hands. "You're courting death." The cold voice exploded like thunder. The person hiding in the void finally couldn't take it anymore. For incomparably powerful auras fell from the sky like meteors. abruptly charging towards Ling Xiao. Each of them seemed to be able to devour the sun and moon, destroying the heavens and earth. These 4 auras were incomparably powerful, even more terrifying than the Eastern Heavenly Great Sage's aura. However, they were of the same origin as the Eastern Heavenly Great Sage. Clearly, the other 4 Heavenly Great Sages of the 9-layered Imperial Obelisk had arrived. Western Heaven Great Sage, Southern Heaven Great Sage, Northern Heaven Great Sage, and Culmination Great Sage. They were originally hiding in the dark. However, what made them both shocked and angry was that not only did Huang Tai die in the hands of Ling Xiao, but now the Eastern Heaven Great Sage was on the verge of death in an instant. Naturally, they were furious and attacked. The 4 Supreme Saints were like 4 dazzling suns. They were about to pierce through the layers of time and space and attack Ling Xiao, who was wantonly devouring the Blackwater mystical snake's essence blood. Rumble. However, at this moment, a huge palm print soared into the sky. It contained a grand and majestic aura. It was like the sun that had just been born. It scattered down rays of light and stopped the 4 great sages in their tracks. Lu Bai, how dare you stop us? A cold and angry voice sounded. Although the 4 Supreme Saints forcibly broke the palm print, they were all stopped by a figure. It was a figure in white with peerless elegance. Although his face couldn't be seen clearly, his eyes were bright, and his body was glowing. He exuded an ethereal and otherworldly temperament from head to toe, like a banished immortal. As he stood in front of the 4 great saints, it was as if a vast world was blocking his way. The 4 great saints looked solemn as they stared at him. You bully Ling Xiao like this? Do you really think that the War God Temple doesn't exist? A cold and indifferent voice sounded in the void, majestically spreading in all directions. The white-robed figure was naturally the current war god of the War God Temple, Lu Bai. Everyone's expression couldn't help but tremble. Lu Bai was known as the most outstanding genius of the War God Temple in recent years. His talent was superb, and his combat strength was unparalleled. He was the strongest person in the War God Temple on the surface. He had made many illustrious achievements in the past, which made people respect him. So many years had passed, and no one knew what level he had reached now. Seeing Lu Bai make a move, everyone's eyes were filled with a strange expression. They didn't know whether it was admiration or mockery. Ling Xiao was now the enemy of the entire world, and the War God Temple, which was already in decline, was still willing to make a move at this moment. They really didn't know what Lu Bai was thinking. Lu Bai, Ling Xiao will definitely die today. Since you want to stand up for him, then die with him. The Culmination Supreme Saint's eyes were cold, and his body exuded a monstrous killing intent. He instantly attacked Lu Bai. Rumble. The 4 of them seemed to have discussed it beforehand. The Culmination Supreme Saint's aura was incomparably terrifying, and his combat strength exploded as he attacked Ling Xiao. The other 3 Supreme Saints' eyes were indifferent. They bypassed Lu Bai, wanting to rescue the Blackwater Mystical Snake and the Eastern Sky Supreme Saint. You'd better stay here, Lu Bai said faintly. His expression was extremely calm. He waved his sleeve at the 4 great sages. In an instant, the void trembled. His sleeve seemed to contain a vast world. A powerful devouring power burst out and shrouded the 4 great sages. Universe in the sleeve. Lu Bai had already cultivated the universe in the sleeve to the extreme. It was as if an ancient world was really suppressing them, covering the sky and the sun. The Culmination Supreme Saint and the other 3 Supreme Saints had nowhere to run, and were instantly swallowed into that world. Lu Bai, you're courting death. The 4 Supreme Saints were shocked and angry. Terrifying chi intertwined around them, and each of them unleashed their strongest power, charging towards Lu Bai, wanting to break out of the universe in the sleeve. Rumble. Lu Bai's expression was indifferent, and his attacks were indifferent. However, every time he collided with the Culmination Supreme Saint and the other 3 Supreme Saints, an earth-shattering power erupted, making it impossible for them to break out of the universe in the sleeve. At this moment, the Blackwater Mystical Snake's majestic blood essence and life origin had been completely devoured by Ling Xiao, and he was on the verge of death. Ling Xiao's body exuded a vast and majestic aura, adding a bit of ferocious and ancient aura to it. The Eastern Sky Supreme Saint's figure was revealed, and Ling Xiao lifted him up by the neck. How do you want to die? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.